Budweiser. Beechwood Age for that clean, crisp taste. This Bud's for you. By Hewlett-Packard. Computer solutions from the people who never stop asking, what if? And by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, phone your nearest BMW dealer.
It is a cold, blustery day along the shores of Lake Erie, and a sellout crowd of 80,000 settling in, awaiting now the 35th renewal of a great interstate rivalry between the Bengals and the Browns. Hello, everyone. I'm Gary Gerald, along with former Cleveland head coach Sam Rutigliano, and there's a lot at stake in this ball game today. The Browns, of course, struggling. They were a Super Bowl contender a couple of weeks ago in the estimation of many at 7-3, but back-to-back losses have them scrambling now in the AFC Central.
Right. Well, this is going to be a 1950 game. Cold, it's going to be a rock'em sock'em running game, a lot of dirt, a lot of mud outside, right near Lake Erie. But it's a dangerous game for Cleveland because they have everything to gain and Cincinnati has nothing to lose. So look, Gary, for Cleveland to get the running game out of mothballs, get Biner and Mack back into the flow and make sure they take a lot of pressure off young Bernie Kosar.
Now with the playoff possibilities on the line for the Browns, for the Bengals, they've been a tough luck team all year. Job security could be on the line today for head coach Sam White.
Well, Cincinnati's not a 4-8 team. They lost 3 games by a total of 4 points. Sam White, if he could put a little package on the Paul Brown's Christmas tree with a Cleveland win on it, he possibly could save his job. Other than that, Gary, Sam White really doesn't have much to worry about in this football game.
So grab your gloves and pull up your longies, and I hope you're warm and cozy wherever you are, because we're ready for a chilly afternoon in Cleveland, but we think it's going to be a great football game. Marty Schottenheimer, who came within 1 game of getting the Browns to the Super Bowl last year, currently 7-5, struggling to stay alive in the AFC Central. Little sunshine at the moment, temperature in the mid-30s, winds gusting up to 17 miles per hour. This kickoff sponsored by Budweiser, the king of beers. Cleveland winning the toss, has elected to receive. Browns trying to shake out of the doldrums after that stunning upset here last week against Indianapolis at 9-7, and the crushing loss the week previous in San Francisco to the 49ers 38-24.
Well, you know, Glenn Young is back returning kickoffs, and Jim Breach is not a deep kicker, so look for a good return.
Here's Breach's kick right down the middle. It is short. It's not going to get to Young. It's not going to get to anybody. It goes out of bounds at the 21-yard line.
Puts the ball on a 35-yard line, which is the new rule this year. Except in onside kicks, you can't repeat it the second time.
Bob Frederick is our referee today. You see him here now.
Illegal kickoff out of bounds. The ball will be scrimmaged from the 35-yard line.
So Cleveland will go to work with the football. You've heard a lot about Ernest Biner and Kevin Mack, a couple of big backs who a couple of years ago ran for 1,000 yards apiece. Bernie Kosar, who just turned 24 last month, at the controls. Langhorne, Slaughter, and Newsom are the 3 leading receivers. Barron, Williams, Babb, Fike, and Risen, the offensive line. Ricky Bolden out for the last 2 weeks with an injury, and on the ground straight ahead, Kevin Mack powering for yardage, but there's a penalty marker down on the very first play of the day. Tim Crumry on the tackle.
And it's against Cleveland. I guess it's a holding penalty.
A lot of emotion in this one today, as you would well anticipate. Great series in Ohio.
Offensive holding, number 69. The first down, number 1 will be replayed.
Dan Fike, the right guard. You know what Cleveland's going to have to do early in the game. Don't give Cincinnati any breaks early. Keep momentum going for them.
Second down, or first down. The ball moved back to the 25. It's 1st and 20 now for the Browns. Mack, the lone setback. Ozzie Newsome in motion now as Kosar backpedals to throw for the first time. In and out of the arms of the intended receiver, Brian Brennan. Brennan working the near sideline against coverage from Ray Horton, who was over there.
That was a catchable ball. Hit him right between the 8 and 6. Ray Horton was really backed off.
Here's your defensive set for the Bengals. Crumry getting all-pro consideration from his coach Sam White, even though he doesn't get the media notoriety, along with Edwards and Scow up front. Linebacking core with King, Zander, Kelly, and Reggie Williams. Kelly having a fine year for the Bengals. And their defensive backs, Louis Breeden was scheduled to be a last-minute replacement for Horton, but we saw Horton on that last play. Second down now for the Browns, just underway in Cleveland. Hand off and right straight up the middle, favoring the left side of the line is KEVIN Mack, and Mack churning out close to the 30-yard line before the inside linebacker Zander is there with the tackle.
This is what Cleveland want to stay away from. That's why the running game is so important. You don't want to put Kozar in situations now where he's got a 3rd down and 15. You know, Cincinnati's going to come with the pressure, and these are tough throws. These are where the sacks and possible interceptions come from.
Herman Fontenot has now checked into the Cleveland backfield. And the Bengals, who have intercepted 12 passes this year, will have the secondary alert right now. Breeden is playing on the left corner. Kozar with 3rd and long. Pressure from Edwards. Hurries the throw. Incomplete at the 42-yard line. Trying to make the catch was Clarence Weathers. Had a couple of defenders right there, including the free safety Robert Jackson.
White out of the shotgun, gets it upfield, intended rim throw incomplete. The Cowboys will have to punt.
That catch, and it would have been very close to a 1st down.
Interesting week in Cleveland. The kicking game under heavy criticism the last couple of weeks, and Marty Schottenheimer coming up with big changes announced only yesterday. Thursday, Lee Johnson, the former Houston punter, who last week was actually on the inactive roster of the Buffalo Bills, is now on. He's a barefoot, left-footed punter, and here's his first kick in a Cleveland Browns uniform. And they'll be watching it closely as he gets it high, and a fair catch going to be called for. Doesn't get any kind of a bounce. It goes out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Mike Martin was back hoping for a return, didn't get it. Johnson coming in, replacing George Winslow, who had just a tough week last week. 8 punts, averaging only 32 yards. You can see 29 on the initial attempt by Johnson. High up there against the swirling winds in Cleveland Stadium, shaking his head in disgust as the Bengals with a football for the first time from their own 41, and Boomer Esiason goes to work. Brooks and Kennebrew are the setbacks. It's Brooks out across the line of scrimmage to about the 43-yard line. Brooks brought down by Bob Golick. Take a look now at the set for the Bengals. Esiason, Brooks, and Kennebrew in the backfield with McGee, Brown, and Rodney Holman, who caught 5 balls last week in the victory in overtime against Kansas City. You've got a tough line here. Max Montoya is back in the lineup starting today. He's had back problems, was just recently coming off the injured list. He was listed 3rd on the depth chart, but Sam White told us just before the ball game that he would go in place of Brian Blados at right guard. Second down. Kennebrew with no place to go still manages to get perhaps a yard. The big man at close to 260 pounds bullying straight ahead that time to about the 45.
We've got a confrontation on the sideline right now between the cornerbacks and James Brooks, 21, but Mike Johnson, number 59, blitzed, and he caught Kennebrew before he got a start.
Linebacking core including 2 Johnsons, Eddie and Mike. Clay Matthews, of course. Lucius Sanford back as a starter now. He's had some injury problems as well. And the defensive backs, Minifield and Dixon, you hear a lot about the dog defense, of course, and these are the men who love to play that type man-to-man coverage. Stanford Jennings has now come into the backfield, replacing Brooks. Jennings, number 36. Well, no, I'm sorry, Brooks is still there. Kennebrew is out. There's been a question about Brooks because he's trying to shake off numerous injuries as well. Esiason with time. Pass is completed on the far sideline to Brown, and Brown pulled down at about the 44-yard line in Cleveland territory by Minifield. Eddie Brown with his 36th reception of the year, picking up 10 quick yards and moving into Cleveland territory.
Chris Collingsworth, you know, is not playing today. As a matter of fact, he's dressed on the sideline. Take a look at Boomer right now. He's got good protection. He's looking in the middle. He comes off to Brown. Watch the way Brown comes back for the ball, makes a nice catch. That's a lot more difficult than it looks. And 31, Frank Minifield makes the final play. That was not as well thrown ball as I thought at the beginning. Excellent catch by Eddie Brown.
First down in Cleveland territory for Esiason and the Bengals. Holman, the tight end, moves over to the right side of this particular set. Brown in the slot to the left. Boomer right over the middle, completes the pass, and pulling it in was the tight end, Rodney Holman. Mike Johnson there with another tackle. The ball is going to be inside the 35 at the 34-yard line.
Rodney Holman is one of the most underrated tight ends in the league. Take a look now as he comes off. Now he's one-on-one with Mike Johnson, 59. Now Johnson has very good coverage. It's an excellent throw on the part of Boomer Esiason.
So after the first one was a little off target, Boomer right on that time at the 34-yard line, where it's second down now, and they need less than a yard. Edwards gets the call. He gets the first down and gets close to the 30-yard line before Golick comes in to make the tackle.
Now, Cincinnati has not had a problem moving the ball from 20 to 20 all year long. They're now in the scoring territory, in position to score a touchdown or a field goal. Here's where they've had all their problems. They just haven't been able to get the ball in the end zone.
I mentioned before that this is the 35th time that these ball clubs have met now in this Battle of Ohio, and the series is dead even at 17 wins apiece. Earlier this year, it was during the strike, and the replacement team from Cleveland with many veterans easily handled Cincinnati. Kennebrew trying again and not finding any room to run. Mike Johnson spearheading the Cleveland defense, and the big running back that time unable to come up with anything. That earlier encounter that took place in Cincinnati saw the Browns win at 34-zip.
Watch Kennebrew right now. He's going to get hit initially by 57. That's Clay Matthews. There's the hit right there. 59, Mike Johnson. Now you got everybody but the kitchen sink in there. They knocked Kennebrew back, gained less than a yard.
Cleveland's defensive unit leads the NFL in fewest points allowed this year. Also #1 in yards allowed, but with a 7-5 record. Chasing Esiason with pressure, completes the pass to Brooks. Got down to about the 26-yard line before he was thrown back by Felix Wright. Brooks and Wright now exchanging commentary on the near sideline.
Well, it's an aggressive defense, and they're going to go after people. You can obviously do it the right way. Now, he's coming on a bootleg. Esiason goes away from the fake. He's looking for 21, Brooks all the way, but Felix Wright, the free safety, has good coverage. They were in man coverage, and the free safety had the back coming out of the backfield. Excellent coverage on the part of Wright, because if Brooks catches a pass, he can add a lot of yardage.
Third down, a little over 5 needed. 8:54 to play, first quarter now. Stanford Jennings, Mike Martin in as extra receivers. Only one setback. It's Jennings behind Esiason. Here comes a 5-man rush. Time, completes the pass to Martin. Martin at the 5-yard line is pulled down, loses the football. It'll still be Cincinnati ball, however.
They got a lot of different threats. He had excellent protection, and he found Mike Martin as a crossing receiver. Take a look at the 10-minute ticker. Of course, the big game is Buffalo at Indianapolis.
New England, the only one of these teams to score thus far in the early going. Everybody else scoreless. Scoreless here in Cleveland, although Cincinnati is threatening right now with the ball just short of the 5-yard line.
They got a lot of tools, Gary, with Eddie Brown, James Brooks, and Kennebrew, and Holman, and Mike Martin is just another addition. Caught a pass in the middle and ran down to the 5-yard line.
Brooks and McGee split wide to the near side. Brown wide left. Play action fake. Boomer to the end zone. Overthrows Brooks. Brooks was open. Had the ball been there, it would have been an easy 6.
It was an excellent call on first down, because the defense figures you're going to take 3 shots at it on the run. It was a play action pass, and Boomer just rushed it. Brooks went right over the goal line in the middle, and he was wide open. He just threw the ball too high. That should have been a touchdown.
Brooks has caught 2 passes for scores this year. We mentioned that he's had injury problems, basically an ankle. Has missed virtually 3 full ball games this season. Came back and saw some limited duty in the victory against the Chiefs last week. On the ground, the big man, Kennebrew, gets down close to the 2-yard line, challenging the left side. Chris Rockins sweeping him off his feet. Rockins coming in there at 195 pounds against a man who outweighs him by about 65 pounds.
Now we have a 3rd down and 2. And I think what you're going to see is, I don't think they're going to give the ball to Kennebrew. If they did that on first down, they'd have 3 shots at it. I think we're going to come right now with a play-action pass with Boomer Esiason running. So he'd have the option to either run it in, put a lot of pressure on the defense, and lay the ball off, possibly to a tight end, either Holman or Caddis.
Martin split wide left. Brooks in the backfield with Kennebrew. Brooks in motion. There's the little rollout fake down to the right side. Esiason under pressure. Sidearms it, incomplete. He was trying to go inside with the sidearm pass to Eric Caddis, the tight end. Couldn't get it. Sam Clancy had the push up the middle, putting pressure on Esiason.
And they had the touchdown on the first down call. Take a look at Boomer right now. The problem is pressure. See, the pressure, he had a problem with the snap, but the pressure by Clancy, 91, causes him to throw an errant throw. As a matter of fact, he should have thrown that ball away and saved the field goal, because he was not open. That could have been an interception on the goal line.
Leading scorer in the AFC, Jim Breach, on now for the field goal attempt.
Now, 82 Holman has to be in there as a wingman, but this hurts your kicker. This is probably why they're 4 and 8.
Had 2 of them blocked and run back for touchdowns the last couple of weeks. However, Breach gets this one right on through. The veteran Jimmy Breach, in his 9th year out of Cal, gets the first score of the ball game, and the Bengals break on top in this one by a score of 3-0. Going to be an interesting afternoon by the lake in Cleveland. Stick with us.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser. The people who bring you Budweiser wish you and yours the very best of everything this holiday season.
I don't go out there to think about how a customer can afford more computing power or integrate workstations. But sometimes, out of nowhere, it happens. Seems to be the way at Hewlett-Packard. The point is to keep asking the right questions. Rich, Jerry, what if on that automotive project...
There are those who fervently believe that true perfection is found in the details. At the Bavarian Motor Works, we gave that belief a name. We call it the BMW 735i. Beautiful, to be sure. Yet perhaps the most beautiful thing about it is its spirit.
Sam White on the far sidelines, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bengals. Boy, what an up and down year he has had to endure. Has seen, however, his ball club get the first score of the afternoon. Esiason hitting 4 of 6 for 45 yards passing, and then the Breach field goal of 20 yards, giving Cincinnati the first 3 points, and Breach ready to kick off once again. This one a little deeper kick going into the wind, is going to be taken by Young at the 9-yard line. Got a good head of steam, hops into the pile, now breaks to the outside, and is pulled down at the 30-yard line. Glenn Young on the return from the 9 out to the 30 of 21 yards, and Cleveland will go to work now, 1st and 10. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. It is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Cleveland Browns and the National Football League is prohibited. This game, the property of the National Football League, Cincinnati Bengals and Cleveland Browns. Kozar at quarterback has a lone setback behind him. It is Mack. Ozzie Newsome, the tight end, with some motion to the left side. Mack turning, breaking through a hole out across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Good surge that time to the left side of the offensive line, led by Larry Williams and Paul Farron.
This is what they're looking for right now. This is what the running game does. It gives Bernie now a 2nd down and short or a 2nd down and medium, and his play selection takes a lot of pressure off him.
3-0 ball game midway through the first quarter in Cleveland. The event you've just joined us. The Browns at 7-5 against the 4-8 Bengals. Cleveland with the football. Kozar again going to Mack, and again straight ahead across the 40. A little hesitation, and then picking the hole nicely to the 43-yard line.
Well, good daylight running on the part of Kevin Mack. The hole was on the tight end side. Take a look at Mack right now. Hesitates. Now, this is a good back. He accelerates right through the hole and picks up the 1st down.
David Fulcher and Tim Crumry hanging on to make the tackle here, so we get a good look at Kevin Mack. His top game this year, 114 yards rushing against Houston. He's had 6 100-yard games in his career. Mack once again, the 3rd consecutive carry, and for the 3rd time, big yardage. Cross midfield to the 46-yard line.
And they're going to do it until they stop it. Cincinnati has been good against the run, but this is a big, strong back. What Cleveland is doing is going one-on-one blocking up front and letting Mack take his choice.
29 yards on those 4 carries, putting the ball at the 46-yard line.
Watch Kevin Mack gets a good lead block by 44 Biner, and then he cuts back and he's tackled after a 10-yard gain.
David Fulcher and Robert Jackson finally able to bring him down. Biner goes way out wide now to the left side. Mack with the football again, and just like you said, Coach, they're going to keep pounding away. Now the ball pops loose, I don't know if he was on the ground. The indication it's going to be Cincinnati's football. Robert Jackson, the man on the sidelines, walking off with the football. Timeout is going to be taken here now with 4:53 to play, and the first turnover of the ball game, negating a good solid ground drive on the part of the Cleveland Browns. We'll see if the Bengals can capitalize in a moment.
No one would deny that the Japanese are aficionados of fine machinery. So when they reach that station in life when they can afford really fine machinery, guess what they buy? A car from Germany called the BMW 325i, making BMW last year's #1 selling luxury import in Japan.
This evening, Ken Edwards had a vision of the future. Not of time travel or cities in space, but of his family. His daughter practicing law. His wife heading her own business. Himself retired, writing detective stories. This evening, Ken Edwards had a vision of the future and knew what it would take to get him there.
Daddy!
Plans for investments and protection from the equitable. We have great plans for you.
Yeah. Harry, Kalamazoo Tuesday, I can do that. Memphis Wednesday, I can do that. New York Thursday, I can do that. How am I going to do that?
No matter where you do business, Northwest can fly you there.
Can't breathe. Can't sleep.
Before and Afrin. Relief so you can sleep. What Afrin does in 5 minutes takes Sudafed over an hour. It's the #1 recommended nasal spray.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC as the #1 Oklahoma Sooners take on the only team to have beaten them in 3 seasons, the second-ranked Miami Hurricanes. A battle of undefeateds for the national championship at the Orange Bowl. New Year's Day, college football's best and brightest are on NBC.
There's the handoff to Kevin Mack. Now, he's searching, gets a good block by Ozzie Newsome, going back to the inside. Now, let's take a look. Right now, it looks like Crumry and King, number 90. There's the ball. It's going to bounce out right in the middle of the screen. And Bobby Jackson, number 37, there it is. Bobby Jackson, the free safety, number 37, is going to come up with the recovery. Now, on the first drive, they had a penalty holding against Fike, which hurt the drive. Second drive, they're moving the ball very well on the ground, particularly with Kevin Mack, and they fumble in Cincinnati's territory.
Getting the indication here from the public address announcer now that after replay review, it will stand as ruled. Dixon Holman is the replay official today, so they took a second look and decided that it would stand. So from the 44-yard line, Bengals leading 3-0, have the football once again. Here's Jennings now on the right corner, dragged down from behind by Eddie Johnson. Trying to sweep wide to the right, getting out close to midfield. Checking the ticker now, Buffalo gets first blood against Indianapolis in that big battle. In the East, we've got New England on top of the Jets, still no score at Philly between Miami and the Eagles. Washington with the first touchdown of the day in the nation's capital against Dallas. New Orleans leading Houston. No score, Minnesota and Green Bay. 3-0 here. Sam White looks on, and the Bengals with the football at the 49-yard line, their own territory. Esiason against the 4-man rush. Floats it out to Jennings, just into Cleveland territory at the 47-yard line, and Eddie Johnson in the middle to make that tackle once again.
That's what they're going to have to do with Esiason. They're going to have to put some pressure and get the pressure up in his face so that he can't see downfield. He's a very good athlete. They showed a lot of athleticism there, laying the ball off to Jennings. And Jennings is having a great year. You know, he came out of Furman University. He blocks well. He's an excellent runner and one of the better receiving backs coming out of the backfield for Cincinnati.
Sam White has referred to Stanford Jennings as Mr. Reliable. He says he's really the unsung hero of this ball club that's had such a emotional roller coaster ride this season. Lost 4 games by a total of 7 points.
Third down and less than a yard. They're calling a timeout, but there can't be any imagination here on who they're going to give the ball to. Give the ball to the big guy to get the first yard for you, the first down for you.
Boomer going over on the sidelines to talk it over with Sam White, so we'll pause for a moment as well. 3:27 to go, first quarter in Cleveland.
I hate having my picture taken. But ever since Beaky
got the newest, totally automatic Nikon One Touch. He hasn't put it down. This Nikon has sharper focus, a really smart flash, even a 5-year lithium battery. But the best part is that I got to come here for half price on Pan Am.
Buy a One Touch and a companion flies half price on Pan Am, even to Europe.
Ooh, Pinky hasn't taken a bad picture of me yet.
It's the right field at the right time. It's the silver bullet that has tasted fine. It's a new way to go to town. The silver bullet won't slow you down. So come on, it's a Coors Light. It's the right beer now. To the good life, yeah. Good life, yeah. So come on, it's a Coors Light. It's the right beer now.
Makita, the cordless power tool system more professionals use to work around the house, or even build one. Makita, it's all the power you need.
Next Saturday, the NFL plays here when the Chiefs battle the Broncos.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
3rd and 1 coming up for the Bengals. Sam, I would imagine there'd be a little more emotion, not only on the football field, but here in the stadium with what's on the line for the Cleveland Browns in their final home game of the year.
Well, as far as the stadium is concerned, Cleveland has to do something for that to happen. But the penalty on the first drive and the fumble on the second drive has given the momentum at this point to Cincinnati. We got a key 3rd down now, and they're going to give it to the big guy.
Kennebrew has the first down and a couple of extra yards to boot as he gets close to the 42-yard line. Just getting a little head of steam going that time, right up the middle.
You always want that big back to get that critical first down yardage for you. Even if the hole is not there, you give it to him and he makes his own hole. Take a look at Kennebrew right now. There's a good lead block. That was interesting.
That was
James Brooks blocking 91 Clancy, a defensive end.
Brooks at 182 pounds, Clancy at 260 pounds.
Reverse.
First down play, fake reverse. Brooks with a football. Browns had it diagnosed fairly well. Now a late penalty marker comes in. Brooks was dumped at the 40-yard line, and there was a late flag that came in there after Chris Rockins was in on the tackle.
It's against Cincinnati, probably holding.
Here's the initial indication from Bob Frederick, and we'll get his official announcement.
Take a look at it right now. You see, it's a run. They fake the reverse because maybe somebody on this side will bite on it, but they don't. As you see, Bob Golick running it down, and eventually number 99, Darrell Sims, makes the play.
Anthony Munoz was singled out for the penalty, and that's going to move the ball back to the midfield mark. Mr. All-Pro Munoz, not that often that he makes a mistake in the spotlight that he gets caught. Boy, he's been a great football player.
Right, that wasn't a holding penalty. On the reverse, he must have pushed someone in the back.
So first down, about 17 yards needed for the first down now as Esiason backpedals, sets up, takes a look out here. This one knocked away and almost intercepted. Good defensive coverage by Felix Wright as Stanford Jennings came out, and look at the reaction here from Esiason. He wanted the flag, but he didn't get it.
Well, we take a look at it right now. You'll see Boomer is looking for Jennings all the way, looking upfield now. He spots him. He doesn't get the ball out far enough, because watch now as Felix Wright reaches inside, you know, before the ball is caught, both the receiver and the defender, as long as the defender doesn't interfere, have the right to the football. It was an excellent play on the part of Felix Wright on Stanford Jennings.
Boomer Esiason, 4-year veteran, second down. See the time remaining in the first quarter. Browns with 5 defensive backs. The left-hander rolling left, now firing over the middle. This one knocked away and almost intercepted by Eddie Johnson. Johnson popped it up in the air, made the dive, but couldn't come up with it.
That ball should have been caught. Boomer was rolling out to the left, to get some protection. He tried to force the ball. Watch him right now. He's going to his left, so he gets some protection. There's nobody open. All you can see is a sea of white jerseys. He throws the ball, trying to go to Mike Martin, and Eddie Johnson, 51, sticks his thumb in it. Should have made the catch. And I'll tell you what, Boomer would have had to make the tackle.
So third down. Still close to 18 yards needed. Once again, the Browns with an ample supply of defensive backs anticipating the pass. Jennings, the lone setback behind Esiason. Here comes the four-man rush. Against the pressure, completes it to Jennings at the 45, slides down at the 41-yard line. He'll be well short of the first down. Clay Matthews was there as Jennings lost his footing.
I'll tell you what the Browns are doing. They're not getting any sacks, but they're putting pressure on Boomer because he doesn't have the time to get the ball upfield to his outside receivers, and he's laying the ball off a lot to his backs.
Punting situation coming up now. Scott Fulhag, who was the punter on the replacement team, earned himself a job on the roster a few weeks ago. McNeil, who can be very exciting, standing back at the 9-yard line. Here's Fulhag's first punt of the day. Kind of a low line drive and a fair catch called at the 16-yard line. So no chance for the Cube to run that one back. We have 1 minute and 22 seconds left in this first quarter. Still a 3-0 ball game. The Bengals lead it.
This branch office automation project was a monster. I figured a good workout would help me work things out. At Hewlett-Packard, the only way we come up with something that isn't what everyone else would do is to keep asking those questions.
How much longer till we get there?
About 20 minutes.
Anti-lock brakes, internationally patented suspension, uncanny control. Conventional luxury sedans are built to survive accidents. The BMW 528e is built to avoid them.
Let's see if they're okay.
At Braun, we believe simple is better than complicated. Order is better than confusion. Quiet is better than loud. Only through superior design can one achieve superior performance. It is this philosophy that has helped make Braun the #1 selling foil shaver in the world. What's also helped is that no other shaver gives you a closer shave. Braun, now available in America.
Monday, Alf's in a 1-hour special.
Alf!
When the Tanners lose Alf, he makes some new friends to get back home.
I hear something on the roof.
Alf's Special Christmas Monday.
Gary Gerald along with Sam Rutigliano in Cleveland, where the Bengals lead the Browns 3-0, and we'll be updating, of course, other scores around the league at various times through the afternoon on the 10-minute ticker, keeping a close eye in particular on that Buffalo-Indianapolis game, where, as you saw earlier, Buffalo jumped out to the early advantage with a touchdown. It was a Jim Kelly pass of 12 yards to Ronnie Harmon.
Browns have to get something going right now. They look flat. They really don't look like they got a lot of enthusiasm. It's important for this drive now. Knock out a couple of first downs. Get up around the 50-yard line.
They got into Cincinnati territory before, but the fumble by Mack gave the Bengals the ball, and they were unable to capitalize. Let's see what happens now as Kozar is ready for action. Fires on the far sideline, incomplete. He was trying to go to Ernest Biner out of the backfield. Ball a little bit long off his fingers. We're going to be going to New York now to update some of this other activity as we check in at NFL Live.
All right, Gary, and we check in at the Superdome in New Orleans. Eric Martin latches onto the Bobby Hebert pass, spins away from a potential tackler, and goes 54 yards for the touchdown. The Saints, trying to win their 7th in a row, lead 7-zip.
Kozar backpedaling and completing a pass to Ozzie Newsome, and that'll keep that streak alive. Now at 125 consecutive games as Cleveland tries to get some muscle into their offense. King and Zander with the tackle, and the crowd salutes the Wizard of Oz.
And he threw that ball through a pipe. He had great coverage by Zander and King. Take a look at Bernie right now. He's going to come off on Ozzie late at the bottom of your screen. Now watch. the snap on that ball. Puts it right in there with 90 and 91, the two linebackers covering it very well. Excellent throw. Now you got a third down and less than 2.
Quite a streak for the 10-year veteran, Ozzie Newsome. Browns with third down, need a couple of yards. Some movement in the line, no penalty marker down, and on the ground straight ahead, trying to get the first down is KEVIN Mack. Tim Crumry, the nose tackle, is in there. And now we'll take a look at these scores. We mentioned Buffalo leading Indianapolis. Indianapolis leading the Eastern Division of the AFC, 7-5 coming into Buffalo 6-6. So a very big ball game and a big early advantage to the Bills. New Orleans, as we just heard from Bob Costas, leading Houston. Minnesota now a touchdown on top of Green Bay. Counting down the final seconds, there you see time has expired here to end the first quarter at venerable old Cleveland Stadium before a sellout crowd of 80,000. We'll turn them around and come back with second quarter action in just a moment.
AT&T comes through with an advanced telemarketing solution. When a trucker's down, he needs service fast. But where does he find help in the middle of nowhere? That's why Goodyear turned to AT&T. Now a trucker just calls 1-800 number to reach the nearest service outlet. So he can get back on the road in no time at all. And sometimes, even sooner. From equipment to networking, from computers to communications, AT&T is the right choice.
If you buy a Kodak Ultralight battery for your garage door opener today, the next time you change it could be the year 2001. Kodak introduces gold-tipped ultralight lithium batteries. Go for the gold.
Fancy perfumey aftershave. It's got to be a quarterback's locker.
Real guys who get mud on their uniforms use rugged, honest stuff. Ice Blue Aqua Velva.
There's something about today's Aqua Velva Man.
Look for Aqua Velva Christmas gift sets.
Sam, you told us coming in we're going to throw back to the 50s in the running day game on a cold December day in Cleveland. We're seeing it, and the Browns have been effective, but they haven't scored yet.
Well, the offensive line is really coming off the ball. They're doing a good job knocking those defensive people at Cincinnati back, and Mack's running the ball well. Bernie just has to get in the groove, get in rhythm, hit a couple of key passes, just like he did with Ozzie Newsome, and then take a look at trying to find a guy deep like Slaughter.
Cleveland, the ball club, of course, they got close last year to the Super Bowl. They got to that championship game, but came up a little bit short, hoping that they could get back this year. And up until a couple of weeks ago, they were kind of cruising along. But then it's tough duty after the loss in San Francisco and the loss here last week in Indianapolis. The numbers, and you see the yards rushing for the Bengals, total 82 total yards, 43 yards total for the Browns, and 35 of the 43 have come on the ground. They got the first down in that play just before the end of the quarter. Cleveland with the football, and Kozar looking to pass. Floats it out here on the right side. Mack gets a block across the 40 to the 44-yard line. Carl Zander with the tackle. KEVIN Mack just lumbering along out there for a 16-yard pickup.
What happens is you got your receivers going upfield. Bernie lays the ball off to KEVIN Mack. Take a look at it right now. Bernie is looking upfield. Mack is going out to his right. Stop, stop. Now watch as one guy misses. One guy misses right there. Number 90, King, misses, and as a result, this guy breaks tackles and makes yardage upfield because he forces people to miss.
Just underway, second quarter in Cleveland. Browns yet to score. Bengals with a field goal from breach of 20 yards. Newsome in motion. Kozar swings it to the left side to Mack this time, and he's hit hard at the line of scrimmage. And David Fulcher, boy, he's one of the biggest defensive backs in the NFL, and when he hits you, you know it.
That's why they call him Rock. But they had a defensive lineman, Jim Scow, number 70, coming out to cover Mack.
Fulcher is 6'3", listed at 228 pounds. Don't find many defensive backs that even come close to those kind of numbers. And he kept that to a 1-yard gain.
He's a linebacker playing strong safety.
Second down and 9 for Kozar. On count, here comes the blitz. They pick it up. He completes the pass on the far sideline. Shaking off a man is Langhorne down to the 30-yard line. That brings the crowd to life as Reggie Langhorne shook off a tackler and ends up with a 25-yard pickup.
That's the big play that they need. Lewis Breeden, number 34, has got to take that 5-yard pass. He can't knock it down as we look at Kozar right now. He completes a 5-yard pass. Now the defensive back, Breeden, number 34, make the tackle. See, he doesn't wrap his arms. Langhorne comes off, and watch him add now. 8, 10, another 12 to 15 yards as a result of a missed tackle.
Reggie Langhorne was unhappy last week, said he wasn't getting the football enough. Well, he makes a big play on his first reception here today. Kozar comes back on the ground, and Mack pops through the hole on the left side of the 25-yard line, but a penalty marker is down on the far side of the field.
Looked like a wide receiver must have been offside on the part of Cleveland, but no, it's against Cincinnati.
Frederick with the indication that it'll work against the Bengals. The ball is at the 25-yard line, so they may decline the penalty. Looked like just about a 5-yard pickup on that play.
Well, they'll take the penalty, then make it first and 5.
First down. Options being discussed. Here's the announcement from Frederick.
Encroachment on the defense on the right end. And first down will be repeated.
That would be Jim Scow in that particular spot, who is encroaching that zone. Only a minute and a half gone in the second quarter. Sam White's far sidelines watching his defensive unit dig in now against Kozar and the Browns, who have their first legitimate scoring drive of the day underway. Just a potential scoring drive. Biner is way out wide to the left as Newsom starts the motion to the right. Mack trying to work the center once again, gets a couple of very tough yards, but that's about all from Ryan Zander there for the tackle.
Take a look at it right now. The play is on the right side. What Mack is doing so well, he's got good vision and good awareness, and he's cutting the ball back. Ozzy's going in motion, 82. Now watch Mack get the ball deep. Now see, there's no hole. Now he bounces back, but there's somebody right there. 57, Reggie Williams, and 91, Carl Zander.
Ball at the 22-yard line, second down. We need 2 for the first down. The penalty gave them the initial 5 in this particular series. Completing the pass to Slaughter. Touchdown, Cleveland. WEBSTER Slaughter, 22 yards on the touchdown. His 5th touchdown reception of the year. He's caught a ball now in 26 consecutive games as a pro, and a big one here against the Bengals to give Cleveland the lead.
24, Lewis Phillips, let him get to the inside, and linebackers and safeties are not going to catch that guy. They should not allow him to enter inside. Once he caught the ball, he was in the end zone.
Here's Matt Barr, who came off the physically unable to perform list just yesterday. He boots it through the uprights, and the Cleveland fans, the sellout crowd, enjoying the first Cleveland scoring activity of the afternoon as the Browns lead it now 7-3.
Introducing a high-performance luxury sedan made the Mazda way.
High-performance luxury sedans traditionally ask you to pay a pretty dear price. Well, that's not the Mazda way. Mazda's all-new 929 has world-class luxury appointments. It's amazingly quiet, solid riding, and actually outperforms those guys. Now there's less standing between you and a car this good. About $8,000 less.
This is the Mazda way.
One of travel's greatest challenges is how to keep wrinkles out of clothes packed in luggage you've checked. But now, thanks to Samsonite's hard-side luggage, it's easy, because our special features keep your clothes in place and you looking great. Samsonite hard-side luggage has put the suit back in the suitcase, so you'll never make the wrong kind of impression. Proving once again that our strengths are legendary.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
The kids really like what we got them for Christmas. Radio Shack Space Patrol walkie-talkies. They're terrific outdoor fun. They have flexible antennas to withstand rugged use. And built-in Morse code keys with the code alphabet on the front, so they can talk or send messages in code. The kids like them, and I love them. Come in, Space Patrol. Time to report for dinner.
Space Patrol walkie-talkies from $9.95, only at Radio Shack.
Today's game is brought to you by Mazda, bringing performance and value together. That's the Mazda way. By Coors, the beer with a difference worth tasting. Coors is the one. And by Magnavox, smart products for smart people. Magnavox, smart, very smart.
22-yard touchdown pass. Kozar to Slaughter. The Browns have the lead. Newly acquired Lee Johnson, who punts barefooted but kicks off with the shoe. Now ready to do his number. McGee, Bussey, and Billups in the deep spots for the Bengals, standing at the 5- and 10-yard line. Driving this one straight down the field. Pretty good distance back to the 3-yard line for Bussey out of the corner to handle. Gets up to the 19-yard line, and now the crowd starting to come to life in Cleveland after that touchdown and a good kickoff by Johnson. 12:35 to play in the first half. Anthony Griggs on the special teams was there to make that tackle for the Cleveland Browns. Ball will actually be nosed right out to the 20-yard line, just the same as the touchback, as Cincinnati now will go to work once again. Joe Walter, Max Montoya, the right side of the line, Remington in the middle, Reimers and Munoz on the left to protect Boomer Esiason. Hand off to the big man, Kennebrew, powering straight ahead. Penalty marker is down. Waiting to see who the penalty will work against.
Against Cincinnati, looks like holding.
There's your call, or the indication.
The problem with this now, you're on the 20-yard line. You're in your backyard. A penalty brings the ball back to the 10, and what it does now is reduce your options in your offense.
Offensive holding to the center on the offense.
So the penalty moves the ball back to the 10-yard line.
What you don't want to do now is have to punt from your end zone.
5 defensive backs on the field now for the Browns. Buffalo has extended the lead, and New England making life tough for the Jets, updating all the scores now. Minnesota and Green Bay are even as the Packers have come back to tie. 7-3 ball game here in Cleveland with the Browns leading for the first time. Brooks sweeping wide to the left, trying to get the block to turn the corner, able to get out only to about the 17 or 18-yard line before he's muscled down by Felix Wright.
But it was a good choice. He picked up about 8 or 9 yards, get half of it, rather than try to take a chance on a deep throw back on your own 10-yard line where you're going to get a lot more pressure.
Brooks, a Pro Bowler last year. We mentioned the ankle problems that had cost him playing time in the last 3 games. Caught a 23-yard touchdown pass in that overtime win last weekend against Kansas City.
The guy they want to go to is Rodney Holman, number 82 on Cincinnati. He's being covered by a linebacker, Clay Matthews, number 57.
Eddie Brown comes wide to the right side for the Bengals now. The pitch out to Brooks, who sweeps to that side. He's in trouble down back at the 15-yard line. Once again, Eddie Johnson, and how many times have we called that name already this afternoon? He's having a terrific first half defensively for Cleveland.
But it was a good job by Ray Ellis, the strong safety. They tried to pitch to the right, same play they ran to the left, but the strong safety, Ray Ellis, held it up, and then your inside linebacker, Eddie Johnson, 51, made the play.
10:50 to go, first half. Crowd starting to roar now for the defensive unit. Things are warming up in Cleveland on a blustery December afternoon.
Browns are a lot more enthusiastic right now. Got a lot more life, both offensively and defensively.
You can see it with that defensive unit in the pursuit and in the hits. Here's a 4-man rush on Esiason. The pocket collapses, and Boomer is down at the 4-yard line. Clay Matthews leading the charge. Eddie Johnson was in there. Also Carl Hairston. They all came surging, and Esiason had to eat the football.
Watch Boomer right now. He's looking downfield. He's trying to get the ball to Holman. He's holding the ball. Pazzulli breaks through 72 first, and then Clay Matthews, 57, and 78, Carl Hairston finishes him off. But the big problem is now your punter is punting from the end line, and they're going to get a good return.
Ed Brady will handle the snap. Scott Fulhag, who had only 25-yarder on his first attempt. Here comes the pressure. He gets the kick off, but it's another short one. Going only to the 35-yard line, where it's pulled in by McNeil, and McNeil is down at the 30 or 31. So a short kick, and Cleveland now with an excellent opportunity to try to stretch a lead that at the moment stands at 7-3. We have 10 minutes and 1 second to play here in this first half at Cleveland.
Hey, guess what I'm getting Mom for Christmas?
Oh, another Ferrari.
Better than that. The top-rated Magnavox compact disc player. In fact, everyone on my list is getting a Magnavox.
How about Sarah?
Portable CD.
Grandpa.
52-inch TV.
Nancy.
Lightweight camcorder.
Oh, smart, Tom. Very smart.
Yeah. Boy, are they going to be surprised?
Not anymore. You just told everybody they're getting a Magnavox for Christmas.
But they don't know when.
They don't know when.
Introducing a family sedan made the Mazda way.
Toyota Camry, Honda Accord, and Mazda 626 are all great family sedans, but the 626 is really something special. For starters, it has a better warranty, much better. 12% more interior room than Camry and Accord. Plus, it's close to $1,000 less. And if all that's not special enough for you, just wait till you drive this world-class road car.
This is the Mazda way. Like a late-night TV dinner, Norma Jean and R&B. Like the Rockies and the roller skate, and like catching up fusees. I'm an American original, the first craft beer in a can. Tapping ice cold coolers with a friend of yours.
Brewery Fresh draft beer in bottles and cans. That's been Coors for over 25 years. Taste the original today.
Put a 12-ounce keg in your hand.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Seahawks battle the Bears.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Well, the solitude of the sideline for the punter, Scott Fulhag, only 29 yards and a 5-yard return. Great field position for the Browns. And, Coach, that penalty figured big once again.
Right, they had to trade field position. Now they give the ball to Cleveland on the 30-yard line.
Cleveland leading it 7-3, 10:01 to play first half. Browns in Cincinnati territory. Biner goes out wide to the right side. Langhorne is also out to the right. Slaughter is to the left. Newsome now in motion. Kozar to the sideline, completing the pass. Ozzie Newsome bumped out of bounds at the 22-yard line. Emmanuel King bumping him out of bounds as the Oz picks up his second ball of the afternoon.
See, that's what Kozar does so well. He's got him wide open with receivers all over the field, sends them upfield. Ozzie's been going back and forth in motion. Take a look at Kozar. He sets upfield, excellent protection. Cody does a good job on Eddie Edwards, and there's Ozzie wide open. You see, that's what a good quarterback does. Take what the defense gives you. Don't force the ball.
And Kozar has shown a penchant for being able to pick up the defenses, to make those little adjustments at the very young age, and only his third season, now just 24. Straight ahead, Mack, and again the big hole. Look out! Touchdown! Kevin Mack goes 22 yards for his 5th rushing touchdown of the season. And boy, once he popped by the line of scrimmage, there wasn't very much doubt, if any.
You could see those defensive backs didn't want to have any part of him when he put it in second gear. See, the offense is spread all over the field, and if Mack gets one crack and he's in the secondary, he's unusual because for a big man, he's got tremendous speed and acceleration, which he showed on that touchdown run.
Matt Barr on for the conversion attempt. The Browns have struck quickly. And this one just slides through the right upright. It is good. So Barr 2 for 2 as he's come back after being activated here this week. And it's now a 14-3 Cleveland lead. 2 plays, 30 yards using just 13 seconds. Here's the capper.
And he goes right through, and of course Billups is just riding his back right now. And it's a touchdown, 14-3 Cleveland.
Profound than words. Diamonds.
Dip into
into the holiday spirit with something new. McDonald's Holiday Chicken McNuggets in festive 9 and 20-piece packs. Tasty chunks of chicken and 2 new sauces. Tangy cranberry with a twist of orange and sweet apple spiced with cinnamon. Better chime in before holiday McNuggets are gone.
I was knocking my head against this networking project. At Hewlett-Packard, you just don't throw a bunch of hardware and software at the problem. Suddenly, I guess if you ask enough questions...
Hey, Sandy!
You get some pretty good answers.
Sandy, what if we integrate... Are you listening?
They are called Olympic hopefuls, but hope plays a small role here. For it will take a courage, a discipline, and a sheer will few of us will ever know. And if their effort is true, then they too will be known as Olympians.
Mack on the sideline, bundled up against the cold, talking with offensive lineman or line coach Howard Mudd, and that line has really done a number, haven't they, Sam?
And if I were KEVIN Mack, the guy I would talk to every day is the gentleman with the headset. That's Howard Mudd, the offensive line coach, because it's his 5 hogs that open up the holes.
Johnson's kick, it's long, it's deep, it's about 5 yards into the end zone and no chance for a run back. And the Browns salute Lee Johnson for his fine kickoff. And look at Johnson coming off here. He's pumped up a little bit now, too. So the emotion that wasn't there in the first 10 minutes of the ball game is now back in Cleveland. Look at this. New England now 21-3 on the Jets as the Patriots try to stay alive. Buffalo adding a field goal for a 10-point advantage over Indianapolis. Philadelphia with the first touchdown against Miami. No other changes here. Washington still on top. New Orleans leading Houston. Minnesota and Green Bay are tied. Here in Cleveland, along the cold shores of Lake Erie, it's a 14-3 Browns advantage over Cincinnati. The 35th renewal of this rivalry between the Browns and the Bengals. Esiason pressured, gets the pass away, and we'll see if it's going to be an incomplete or an in the grass. I think it's going to be ruled incomplete.
Incomplete. His arm was moving forward, but had good pressure from Darrell Sims, number 99, and 91 Clancy. Take a look as he sets to throw. Here comes Golick, 79, but the pressure's coming from the outside. 91 comes in from behind Sam Clancy and causes the errant throw to 28 Kinnebrew.
Reminder to our viewers that we'll be selecting the Budweiser Most Valuable Player for today's game at the conclusion of this contest. Cincinnati had some offensive spark early in the game. They got the 20-yard field goal from Breach, but they've had a tough time moving the ball since. Here's Brooks now trying to work the left side. Clancy with penetration slows him down, and he slows him down enough that Felix Wright can come in and seal off the tackle. Clancy with excellent pursuit as Brown tried to turn that corner, and Wright was able to muscle him down.
Well, that's a big play for defensive end because the safeties are supposed to make those plays. We got a flag down, and it's against Cincinnati again. Take a look at the sweep right now. James Brooks, 21, is looking for the first block. He's got it right there, but Clancy, 91, comes off his block, and for a big guy to make that kind of a play. Now, he didn't make the tackle. Felix Wright made the tackle, but Clancy caused the tackle.
Officials conferring over there where that hit was made. You also, on that replay, could see why this turf is so bad and why it's tough to maintain your footing. You could see them turning up. It's loose in places. They had to reside, of course, as they always do early in the season from the baseball field, but they've had concerts here at the other end of the field, and there are places where it is kind of tough to get your footing.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 75 on the offensive team.
Well, that call goes against left guard Bruce Reimers of the Cincinnati Bengals. Don't know what the problem was, but once again, a penalty has put them way back now. And remember what happened last time when Fulhag had to punt from deep in his own end zone.
This is going to be a tough throw because Cleveland's really going to be coming. There's the hit right there. Felix Wright, 22, makes the play. And we don't see 75, Bruce Reimers, but that was a dumb penalty because it puts Cincinnati back in a hole, and Boomer's got to make a very tough third down throw.
Boomer, after completing his first 4, is just 2 out of 7 since that time, scrambling for his life fires, no chance for a completion out at the 25-yard line. Once again, the turf being torn up, and way one of the defenders reacted down there. I thought for a moment there had been a penalty marker. That was not the case. It was Mark Harper who was over there. Boomer shaking his head in frustration as he retreats to the sidelines, and once again Scott Fulhag is going to have to kick that football out of the end zone. McNeil is standing in Cincinnati territory, anticipating the punt at the 45. It's not been a good day for Fulhag thus far. Comes in, however, averaging better than 40 yards. This one's high, not particularly long. At the 46, McNeil thrown back to the 50-yard line. He's hit by Robert Jackson, who was quickly down under that high punt that time from Fulhag.
The thing that helped, it wasn't a deep kick, but it hung about 4.5 seconds, which gave Cincinnati an opportunity to cover it, and the field position is a lot better than it could have been. It's at about the 47-yard line of Cincinnati.
34 yards in that punt. Remind you, battle of the outrageous. Bosworth and the Hawks go head-to-head with McMahon and the Bears. That's coming up next week. Most of you will then see the Dogs at Cleveland nipping against Bo Jackson and the Raiders, plus a lot of regional action. Doubleheader Sunday, next Sunday, beginning with NFL Live at 12:30 Eastern Time. Cleveland with the football at the 47-yard line in Cincinnati territory. Kozar trying to capitalize while he's hot. Completes another one. Ball knocked away. It's going to be ruled, I believe, incomplete. Langhorne stretching out against coverage from Horton. Didn't have control on the possession when he came down. The ball squirted out, so they'll go back to the initial line of scrimmage.
Never had control. Bernie saw it all the way, hit Langhorne, number 88, right between the 8 and 8. And what he didn't do is when he caught the ball is to bring it in, because the impact on the ground, it burped out.
You joined us late. Breach got the Bengals on top with a 20-yard field goal. They led it by a score of 3-0. Then 22-yard touchdown pass Kozar to Slaughter. 22-yard touchdown run by Kevin Mack, giving the Browns the advantage at 14-3. Big rush against Kozar. Ball batted down. Nobody able to come up with it that time. The pressure was coming, and for the first time today, Bernie had one batted back in his face. Kozar now 6 for 11, 80 yards, including that one touchdown.
Take a look at Kozar right now. There's a lot of pressure right in his face, and we can't see it. It looked like a 73. No, it was number 94 from the Bengals, or 93. Couldn't get his number clear, but he was up real high, and that sidearm delivery caused the knockdown.
So it'll be 3rd down and 10 for the Browns. Bengals showing everybody right up there on that line of scrimmage right now. Now Thomas drops off. He's showing him the blitz.
He's going to go deep. He's going to try to go deep to one of his receivers.
Now they drop 3 men back very quickly. Kozar with time. Completes it to Slaughter at the 30-yard line. Jackson was there. Billups was over there. Thomas was over there, but he still pulled it in. Slaughter picks up 18 yards.
Big play, because, you know, Cincinnati would have gotten the ball. Then they had him double covered, but it was an excellent throw, and Slaughter came back for the football.
So they get the first down, and we'll take another look now at the coverage here on Webster Slaughter.
Take a look at Slaughter right now. He's being covered by Billups, number 24. Now watch, come back, come back, come back. Just the fact that he came off the defensive back 24 and came back was the difference between the reception.
8 minutes, 5 seconds to go first half. Cleveland on the move, leading 14-3 against Cincinnati. Kozar has Newsom in motion to the right side. Mack on the ground, up the middle. This time gets only a couple of yards. Last time he carried, it was 22 yards for a touchdown, and Reggie Williams comes up with the tackle. Indianapolis has scored now. They have a field goal against Buffalo, but the Bills still on top in that very big game in the Hoosier Dome. New England breezing against the Jets with 3 scores already today. Miami and Philly are even. New Orleans has gotten another touchdown pass from Hebert to Martin to lead that one now 14-0. Houston desperately in need of a win coming in. Houston with a 7-5 record, tied with Cleveland and Pittsburgh in the AFC Central. Right now, Houston is hurting, down 2 TDs. Kozar looking deep. No opportunity this time for Langhorne. Little bumping contest going on with Louis Breeden down there. No penalty markers down.
The big difference, it was close contact, but Breeden, number 34, the KG veteran, was running alongside Langhorne, and he kept looking back also. As long as the defense defensive back looks back at the quarterback just like the receiver, they'll never call it.
So it'll be 3rd down and 7 as we look from the end zone here.
Number 84, that's the guy he likes to go to in this situation.
It's Webster Slaughter. We saw him just a few moments ago pick up a big 1st down play on 3rd down. Slaughter and Brian Brennan are both wide to the left. Weathers, the other side, inside handoff. Biner for the first time today spins, breaks away down to the 10-yard line. Eric Thomas finally tripped him up. Got him by the ankle, 17 yards on the pickup, and that's the first carry for Biner.
And they had him stopped. They would have had to attempt a long field goal, but, you know, the thing that Biner does well, take a look at him right now. It's a draw play. He's stopped right here. He stopped. That's Crumry, 69. Look at the balance as he gets up. Now he avoids number 53, gets a good block on Bobby Jackson, and almost breaks it all the way for a touchdown if Billups, 24, doesn't make the tackle.
Well, that's a spectacular effort by Ernest Biner to put the ball at the 10-yard line. Biner gets the number again, down to about the 7, possibly the 6 off the left side with a slant.
Brown's offensive line have got to be doing a great job. Well, they're knocking them off the line of scrimmage. And Biner and Mack, as we said at the top of the show, take that running game out of mothballs because these are 2 very strong backs that cause people to miss. And right now it's given Kozar a lot of control of the game.
Biner had a tough fumble last week inside the 10-yard line that cost the Browns a scoring opportunity and possibly a chance to win that game against Indianapolis. And he's been wrestling with that all week. This time it's Kevin Mack picking the hole inside the 5, churning down to close to the 2-yard line. They're not only getting the surge, but it seems to me, Coach, that those backs are doing an excellent job of keeping the head up where they can pick that hole and read the block and then make the best of it.
Take a look at Mack right now. Gets a good block by Biner. He's going up inside now. Watch his legs move, never stop. Almost goes in for a touchdown.
Carl Zander and David Fulcher finally were able to bang him down with the ball at the 2-yard line now with 3rd and about a 1.5 needed. They could get a 1st down without a touchdown.
This is an interesting call right now. They're probably going to go to Mack, but they could run a play-action pass.
Mack and Biner still in the backfield. Kozar flips it out all by himself. Mack for an easy touchdown.
There it is.
Well, you called that one, Sam. It was right there, and he was just wide open. They don't come much easier. Barney Bussey was out there in that corner, but he had no shot at all at Kevin Mack. It was just a question of whether or not he'd hang on to the football.
Well, it's the fake. Everybody goes for the fake on Barney, 44, and Mack is wide open. There's no coverage on him. 27, Bussey really took a bite on the fake, and Mack was wide open. It was a great call on the part of Lindy Infante. It took a little audacity, but that's what you have to have down there. And, of course, Mack is a good enough athlete, and now they're up 21-3, and this game is looming bigger and bigger and getting out of Cincinnati's hands.
Another conversion attempt good by Matt Barr. And so after surrendering 3 points and struggling offensively early in this one, the Browns have come back and opened up the big lead now at 21-3. You see the time remaining at 4:49 in this first half. So they've had touchdown passes now from Kozar to Slaughter of 22 yards. The 22-yard rush by Mack for the score, and now Kozar to Mack for 2 yards.
Watch the fake to Biner, and Mack is right there. Nobody's there. Bussey, 27, as I said earlier, bit on the fake. The action was very good. Everybody felt they were going to give the ball to Biner, and then as a result, Mack was wide open, and Bernie Kozar found him for a 21-3 lead.
For Bernie Kozar now, that is his 17th touchdown pass, and you see the rushing yardage for Kevin Mack. That's a pretty good first half number when you've got 67 yards put up there already.
It's good distribution too, because Ernest Biner has run very well in the first half. Cincinnati spotted them. Cleveland spotted them 3 points, 21-3. Cincinnati's got to get this drive going and get something on the board before the half.
Homer Esiason on that sideline talking with Sam White, getting a plan sorted out. You've got the Browns ready to kick off. McGee, Bussey, and Billups all in the deep spots awaiting the boot. Johnson's hammered the last couple. This one's going to go to the 4-yard line. Bussey bringing it up across the 20, and that's about it. possibly to the 21 or so before he was dragged down. Glenn Young was quickly down the field on the 17-yard return. Young, man who used to sell vacuum cleaners door to door after he lost his spot in this National Football League team a couple of years back, has come back and has been a good special teams player this season.
Cincinnati, the last 2 possessions, put themselves in a hole by penalties. As a result, Cleveland got good field position both times and went in and got 14 points.
That's right. They only needed 30 yards 2 series back. This last one was 53 yards before they got the score. 21-3. Cleveland on top now as Esiason goes to work. Got to play catch-up football. Over the middle, completes the pass to McGee to the 43-yard line. Esiason and the Bengals, of course, have got a lot of weapons. Early in the game, he'd already hit 5 different receivers. This is a 22-yard pickup to Tim McGee.
This is an explosive team. Tim McGee's the #1 draft choice. Eddie Brown is the #1 draft choice. They got James Brooks. They got Kinnebrew. They've got Holman. They've been operating in a hole for this during the course of this quarter, but they need to get a drive down here now, not kick a field goal, get a touchdown so they can get back in this game before the half, and it'll be 21-10 instead of 21-3.
Bengals on the negative side do not have the services of the veteran All-Pro Chris Collinsworth, who sprained an ankle last week, tried desperately to get it ready to play today, but was unable to do so. He's on the sidelines watching. Kinnebrew, the big back, breaks away out to the side and still on his feet. Penalty marker down as he crossed midfield on the near sideline. Minifield finally dragging him down, and that time the big guy lowered his head and rolled through a couple of people.
Gary, he ran right over 37 Chris Rockins. Rockins got up and wanted to find out what the license number of that truck was.
I think somebody got a hold of a face mask. Yeah, that's the indication here against the Browns. So they'll tack on a couple of more yards.
There's the hit right there. He bounces right off 59, Mike Johnson. Take a look right now. There's
number 31 of the defense.
31, Frank Minifield. Incidental is 5-yard penalty.
That's going to move the ball, however, to the 39-yard line in Cleveland territory. So very quickly, the Bengals have used up some real estate here now and are on the move. Clock becoming a factor in this half with 3:42 to go. Important for the Bengals to sustain a drive here and to get some points to show for it.
I'm surprised they're not going more to 82, their tight end.
This is Brooks, tripped up, gets only a yard or 2 off the left side. Rockins there to upend him. Checking these scores, the Jets have added a field goal against New England, and Philadelphia now with a field goal to take a 3-point lead over Miami. Washington with a field goal, extending to 7 now over Dallas. No change. New Orleans still on top of Houston, and no change with Minnesota and Green Bay.
Because Pittsburgh's got the 4 o'clock game against San Diego. If they lose today and the Browns win, Houston loses, the Browns are back in first place.
With 2 to go, both on the road. Pressure for Esiason, shakes it off, throws it away out here on the sideline.
They came with 37 Chris Rockins and Clay Matthews. You don't have to sack the quarterback. If you can put pressure on him, he's not going to be able to see the field as well, and he's not going to get to his receivers. And in that case right there, he threw the ball too short.
So 3rd down, 9 yards needed to keep this drive alive for the Bengals. 3:01 to play in the first half. Cincinnati trailing 21-3. Al Baker now in as a down lineman for the Browns.
This is a big 3rd down throw. Look for them to go to 82. Rodney Holman, their tight end.
Holman is split about 5 yards wide on the right side. Brooks in motion to the left. Esiason looking back to the right, fires out of the backfield. Jennings still on his feet, down to the 25, still on his feet inside the 20 to about the 15, where he was knocked out of bounds. Good effort by Jennings.
Felix Wright, 22, had the thing tackled, and they would have had to line up for a field goal.
23 yards on the pickup as we look again.
Watch Esiason now. He's looking for 36 all the way. Now watch 36 right now as he goes upfield. See, Wright went to his feet. He should have stayed on his feet, wrapped his arms, and looked for help. Don't ever try to make an open field tackle like that, particularly when you can tackle him and he's got to line up to kick a field goal. He should have waited for some help and stayed on his feet.
You could see the 3rd catch of the day for Jennings. Came up with the 1st down. The ball just inside the 15-yard line. Excellent sideline effort that time by Jennings. 2:51 to go now, and Bengals are going to take their second time out of the first half. Boomer walking away from the huddle to go over and confer with Sam White.
And the reason for that is Dave Adolph, the defensive coordinator of the Cleveland Browns, uses a lot of different fronts. They go to the 46 bad defense. They go to a front where they use 4 defensive linemen and 4 linebackers. Sometimes they're in a conventional 3-4, as we look at Dave Adolph with the headset right now. Sometimes they're in a conventional 3-4. And what Boomer didn't want to do right there is to come up on first down and not be sure of the call, because it's very important right now. They've got 4 shots to throw it in the end zone to get a touchdown, because a field goal is not going to help them. They've got to get on the board and make it 21-10.
That is the second timeout used by the Bengals. Of course, you're allotted 3.5. You see the time remaining, and of course we'll have the 2-minute warning, which will also stop the clock here. Cincinnati with a victory last week in overtime against Kansas City. Prior to that, they'd suffered back-to-back losses against the Jets. That was a game where they were going on down to kick what they thought would be the winning field goal, and it ended up being blocked and run back for a touchdown. And they have just had such a tough season.
Well, this is very difficult now, Gary. They're on a 15-yard line. Remember, the defense only has 10 yards behind the goal line. You never want to defend the end zone. You want to defend the goal line. So really, Esiason only has 15 vertical yards to work in. So all his throws down here are very tough. He's got to be careful because he's got to wait, and when you wait, you can get a sack. So right now, he's got to be careful not to take a sack, and above all, don't throw an interception. Keep the ball outside. Don't throw it in the middle of the field.
You mentioned the interceptions. Cleveland all last year had 18 total, and they came within a game of the Super Bowl. This year, the defensive secondary has intercepted 19 passes already coming into this one today. Bengals ready to go to work. Esiason flares it out left side to Brooks, being chased by Hairston. That slows him down long enough that he gets only to the line of scrimmage. He had to alter his line after he received the pass from Esiason.
Carl Hairston may be the oldest defensive lineman in the American Football Conference, but he's not the slowest. He came right off. Take a look right now. It's essentially a lateral. He just drops the ball up, throws it behind the line of scrimmage. If he dropped it, it was a lateral. Watch Hairston, 78 hustle. Big Daddy's out there. Now, he doesn't make the tackle, but he causes the tackle. He stopped Brooks from being able to get turned upfield. And if Brooks gets turned upfield, there's Big Daddy right there.
He's going to be 35 years old Tuesday.
A young 35.
A young 35 in his 12th year. 6.5 sacks this season for the Browns. Second down, Cincinnati. I hear whistles. Yeah, they're going to stop this one as it unfolds. Brooks was the ball carrier, but the whistles will negate the play.
I really don't like that call. I think down here right now.
Whistle blown for the 2-minute warning prior to the snap. So that down will have to be replayed, and we are at the 2-minute warning time.
Now, Gareth, they've got a second down, but they can get a first down inside the 5-yard line.
The stars are gonna twinkle and shine. How they'll shine this evening about 8:45. I know I won't be late, cause at 8:30 I'm gonna hurry there. I'll be waiting where
they say time is what you make it. At Citizen, we prefer making it beautiful.
About 8:45.
Citizen.
Make red. Be red. Make blue. Be blue. Make colors as bright as life. Make colors feel like colors feel.
The brilliant colors of life. Trust RCA to bring them to you on Precision Performance Big Screen TV. Only from RCA, the most trusted name in electronics.
I don't know where to start telling you about Mazda trucks. They've been rated first in customer satisfaction 2 years in a row. They got the best warranty in the truck business. It covers you bumper to bumper. This 40 new SE5 comes with everything you're looking at, and it's still priced like Toyota and Nissan's base trucks. So I don't know where you start. I guess it doesn't make any difference. You wind up here.
This is the Mazda way.
The NFL plays here, Seattle.
Rookie linebacker Brian Bosworth leads a bruising Seahawk defense mastered in the school of hard knocks.
The NFL plays here, Chicago.
But the Seahawks' playoff chances won't be sweetened if they can't stop the NFL's all-time rushing king.
The Seahawks battle the Bears. The action starts with NFL Live.
Last year, Sam Wyche and the Bengals were 10-6. This year, they've struggled. They're 4-8. They've had all those close, tough losses. They're looking right now into the teeth of the Cleveland secondary that's being encouraged by the bleacher dogs. Caddis in motion. Esiason looking back to the near side, completes it to Holman. Holman tight-roping the sidelines, gets down to about the 5-yard line before he's knocked down. Minifield coming over. And Holman, as they had the direction going left, he threw back to the right side to the tight end.
Well, they had everybody going upfield. Holman was not the #1 guy. He just laid the ball off to him. Take a look right now. He wants to go upfield, then he just lays the ball off to Holman. Key right now, get as much yardage as you can, but get out of bounds because they only have 1 timeout left. But they can get a first down. They got 3rd down and a long 3 yards. They can get a first down.
Saw his foot go out of bounds at the 7-yard line. Minute 55 to go, first half.
I bet they don't kick the field goal if they don't make this 3rd down play.
Down 21-3. Esiason looking to throw near side again. Intercepted, and look out! Clay Matthews with the football. He wants to lateral it. Big Daddy Hairston lumbering on the near sidelines. Is he going to go? He breaks the tackle and is bumped down. Matthews picked it at the goal line. He got about 30 yards or so on the return, gave it to Hairston, and Hairston lumbered, literally, down the near sideline, deep into Cincinnati territory, and what a big turnaround that could be.
And the throw is late. Watch Boomer right now. See, he threw the ball too late. Clay comes right inside and makes the play. Now watch Clay. He's going to run out of gas. Close to the 50-yard line. Watch Clay now. Poop, he goes right inside. The ball was too late. Now watch Matthews as he runs upfield. Now eventually he's going to run out of gas. He sees 78. His favorite partner gets the ball to Hairston now. Now watch Hairston smoke it right now. He almost goes all the way. If he gets a block by 29 hand for Dixon, that would have been a touchdown. Now Cleveland's got the ball on a 20-yard line, but it could be a 14-play turnaround. Cincinnati had an opportunity to get back in the game, and now they may be very well out of the game.
Well, we talked about Hairston, the young 35-to-be, on Tuesday, showing us his open field stuff that time to the 20-yard line after the interception was pulled in by Clay Matthews. His 3rd interception of the year for Matthews. There's Hairston. They have to get him oxygen over there on the near sideline.
He's renegotiating his contract on the sideline right now.
And Boomer Esiason having a tough first afternoon. Matthews went 36 yards. Hairston tacked on 40 more. And the ball is at the 20 with a minute 34 to go. And as Sam Butigliano pointed out, this could be a 14-point swing because the Bengals were right at the goal line threatening, and they needed it badly. Now the defense has 20 yards to protect.
See, Clay Matthews had Holman, as we talked about, man-to-man coverage. And he would have been fine, Boomer. But when you're going to throw a pass like that diagonally to the sideline, you can't be late.
So the Browns go to work now from the 20. The crowd really roaring its support after the spectacular interception and the lateral to Hairston, who probably has never run that far in his life. Newsom in motion. Play action fake. Kozar down the middle. Nice stretch at the 3-yard line as Langhorne pulls it in. Reggie stretched out in traffic at the 3. Louis Breeden on the tackle, and the Browns are knocking at the door again.
Great throw by Kozar. And that's the same pass that Langhorne dropped a few minutes ago. Take a look at Bernie right now. Fakes to 34 Mack, but watch the throw right in there. It's a good diving catch, but a tremendous throw. Had Breeden, number 34, beat all the way.
Ball at the 3-yard line, 16-yard pickup. Herman Fontenot has now come into the game for Cleveland and will be in the slot on the right side as a potential receiver. Biner and Mack still in the backfield. Kozar, again the play action fake, firing, penalty marker down. The ball was caught. Making the catch was Derek Tennell, a tight end, but there is a penalty marker down.
And Bernie was a little late because Tunnell came open right away, and the penalty's against Cincinnati.
Tunnell with 7 catches, 1 touchdown this season, waiting to find out if this will be number 2. Marty Schottenheimer wants to know, is it or isn't it?
Number 53 in the defense. Penalty will be refused.
That's the touchdown right there by Tunnell. They had 2 men in one area, Bina 44 and Tunnell 81, and it was a breakdown in coverage on the part of Cincinnati. Now that turnaround is 28-3 instead of the possibility of it being 21-10.
I believe that the number that Bob Frederick called, and over the noise it was difficult to tell, but I believe he called number 53 Leo Barker, who was guilty on the infraction. At any rate, the touchdown stands. Tunnell picks up the score, and now the conversion attempt from Barr is good. And Cleveland has exploded here in this first half. After trailing 3-0, they now lead it by a score of 28-3. 2 plays, 20 yards, using less than a minute. And Kozar has been the architect, but of course the defensive secondary set it up on the spectacular interception by Clay Matthews, the lateral to Carl Hairston. They moved the ball all the way to the 20 and then quickly capitalized in just 2 plays.
Tunnell likes Cincinnati because he caught one in the replacement game when Cleveland beat them 34-0, and he caught another one right here. But the thing you have to emphasize here, the offense is playing well, but the defense has had them in a hole twice. The offense got 2 touchdowns as a result of that, and Clay Matthews right there, who made a great interception right on the goal line, and then an outstanding lateral to Carl Hairston, the defensive end. And as a result of that interception, the Browns scored a touchdown, and they're up 28-3.
Hairston still talking about, did you see me? Did you see me on the sideline? Was I great? Did I do the job, huh?
Nobody's talking about the wonderful catch that Hairston made from the lateral by Clay Matthews.
NFL Live, of course, at halftime. Bob Costas, Ahmad Rashad, Paul McGuire, they'll all update you on all the activity. Boy, these games taking on great significance coming down the stretch. There's another fine kick down to the 1-yard line. Barney Bussey to bring it out for the Bengals. Bengals have got to be dispirited right now, as they had a great opportunity challenging almost at the Cleveland goal line, and it turns out surrendering another 7 points to trail with 41 seconds to go.
You know, Gary, what was impressive about the interception was all the defensive players.
On the play. The flag will be picked up, and it will be first down and 10.
All the defensive players on the part of Cleveland who now are in transition. They were defending against the pass. Now all of a sudden Clay intercepts the pass. They didn't see it, but everybody then hustled down, and that gave a big gainer out of it. It was a result of the big gain.
Bengals go to work from their 21. Kennebrew out to the 25-yard line.
Now if they call that play at home, there would be boos coming in from every place, because what they're apparently going to do right now is sit on it, go in at halftime, caucus, and try to see what they're going to do with a 28-3 deficit. It's going to be a long, long road.
Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 88 of the offense.
Unsportsmanlike conduct call against Mike Martin, number 88 of the Bengals. Don't know what that one was about, but boy, right now, everything going wrong as far as Cincinnati is concerned. And that's got to be tough for Sam Weich. Now, Sam, you've been in that position where you've had to take a team in where you're suddenly trailing by a much larger margin than you would have anticipated. What do you do in the halftime? What do you tell your troops?
Penalty will be as the play ended, and it'll be from that spot, 15 yards.
28-3. Cleveland is playing as well as they are offensively and defensively.
We're half the distance.
You get the team together at the half, and you tell them what a great meal we're going to have on the way back on the plane. Because right now, Cincinnati is in deep, deep trouble.
Well, the penalty moves the ball back inside the 13-yard line. 34 seconds to go. You saw Marty Schottenheimer indicating, let's use those timeouts. They're hoping maybe they can get the football back. Kennebrew on the ground, and he's going nowhere. And let's see if Cleveland takes the timeout. They're trying to strip the ball away. The Browns are hungry. They want to add more insult to this one. Matthews and Hairston make the tackle, and the clock stops at 23 seconds.
You could almost see on his face what's going on inside as he displays what's going on outside. You know, a
Cleveland
coach
have called 4-team timeout It is their first one in this half. They have 2 remaining in the half.
This game was going well for Cincinnati.
It was,
again,
yes.
Poor field position, penalties, and mistakes. You know, they took the ball, even though they were down 21-3, they marched the length of the field. They had an opportunity, as I said, to get going at 21-10 at the half. Now all of a sudden the game has got completely away from them, and what they've done is they've put a lot of fuel on Cleveland's fire. Cleveland's really excited right now as we look at the 10-minute ticker.
Buffalo has added another field goal, so the margin again 10 in that big game, and Miami has now moved on top of Philadelphia. The Dolphins still trying to hang in. Virtually everybody alive in the AFC, and that's what's making it so interesting coming down the stretch.
There's
Houston.
nobody really that can be declared. Now, Cleveland next week has to go out and play the Raiders, and then the final game they have to play against Pittsburgh. And the AFC East, everybody in Pittsburgh, and the AFC East, everybody's in one pack. They're almost all tied every week. Someone moves ahead. I think if Buffalo beats Indianapolis today, they'll both be 7-6.
That's right. Indianapolis coming in with a 7-5 record. Well, let's take a look, and you see the division record on the right, because that's, if we get into the tiebreaker situation, then you have to go to that division record. And you see that Cleveland and Houston, where they stand in the AFC Central with Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh has the later game today. That's why we haven't seen the score thus far. Brooks being chased down at the 7-yard line. They'll stop the clock again. Hairston in there on the tackle, and now 15 seconds to go, and they're going to have to surrender the football.
Well, what can happen right now? 15 seconds left to go. They're punting from their end zone. If McNeil calls a fair catch, you can get a free kick. So Cleveland can get a free kick and go ahead now 31-3. So everything is falling apart for Cincinnati.
Well, and you look at the punts that Fulhag has made today, and a couple of times he's had to kick from the end zone, and they have not been long. 2 of them were less than 30 yards.
Watch 78 Carl Hairston here as Brooks tries to turn to the outside. Hairston is right on him, makes the tackle in open field. Now, Hairston is not making a lot of tackles. Clay Matthews, 57, made that tackle, but Hairston is the guy that caused Matthews to make the play.
Well, let's see how the Bengals try to play this now as they have their kicker Fulhag on with 15 seconds to go in the half, trailing 28-3.
Now, McNeil should move up. He should move up right now, because if he fair catches it, remember the clock stops also. And Cleveland has 1 timeout left. They could run a play, call a timeout, and kick a field goal.
Here comes the pressure. Gets the kick off. That's his best effort of the day. McNeil all the way back to the 45-yard line in his own territory. He's well contained there. Now, that was a good punt under pressure that time by Fulhag, much better than we had seen earlier with 4 seconds remaining. Now we've got a problem on the field and some fists or arms being thrown down there in frustration.
And that's a 47-yard punt, but that frustration's on the part of Cincinnati right now. That wasn't a good punt. That was a great punt, because it was 47 yards out of his end zone, and they never gave McNeil an opportunity to return it. Remember, he did that twice in the second quarter, and they didn't punt very well, and Cleveland used that good field position to go in for 2 touchdowns.
Ball spotted at the 46-yard line, I believe it's where it's going to be placed. Marty Schottenheimer saw his troops early here struggling, it appeared, but then once they got on track, they have just been rolling up the points to lead at 28-3, and things have been going very, very badly for the Bengals. 4 seconds to play in this half. See what Kozar, who has already thrown 3 touchdown passes today, how he elects to utilize this last 4 seconds. Got 3 wide receivers to the right side. Could be Hail Mary time. Has some protection, steps up, has to go down to a knee, as that'll go into the book as a sack. Bussey was coming in on a delayed blitz. So we've reached dogs today. From the 34-yard line, Kennebrew across the 35 out to almost the 38 or 39-yard line before he is pulled down. Mike Johnson coming up to help out on the tackle. You see Clay Matthews in there as well for Cleveland. There's Bob Golick. You know, yesterday it was interesting, Sam, out at the practice facility, we were looking around in the locker room. They took us down. We were talking to some different people. Golick, who is very much a free spirit and a character, as you well know from your years here as coach, has his locker decorated in the keeping with the holiday season. He's got a nativity scene. He's got wreaths up. He's got a sound system playing Christmas carols in there. It's quite a setup. Here's Kennebrew working on the left side this time.
The thing that Cleveland wants Cincinnati to do is take their time and bleed that clocker as we take a look at the ticker.
New England just hammering the New York Jets, now 35-6. Once again, keeping you current on scores.
Last week, the Jets were down 27-0 at the half to Miami on Monday night.
Houston struggling, and that's a big game as far as Cleveland and their fans are concerned. Houston, Pittsburgh, and Cleveland all tied coming in today. Pittsburgh playing a later game. Here's Kennebrew getting just enough for the first down yardage on a third down carry, cracking straight ahead. We were mentioning, talking about Golick and his locker. Our crew had an opportunity to shoot some tape down there. Take a look here. You see the nativity set and the wreath, and those are speakers up there alongside the nativity, and he's got Christmas music just booming through the locker room.
And Bob Golick comes from Cleveland, went to Notre Dame. He was picked up on waivers from the New England Patriots, second-round draft choice, but he's a spirited player, but he's also a spirited individual.
He had his combat boots and his camouflage pants on during the practice session yesterday in the cold in Cleveland. From the 46-yard line, Jennings in motion. Esiason with a pump fake. Gets it away, going deep. Here's Martin. He dives, and he gets the score.
And that's exactly what they needed. They just now put a tremendous impact, an injection of an antibiotic right into their offense. They needed that big play to get back in the game, and they got it from Mike Martin, from Boomer Esiason.
54 yards, only the 12th reception this year from Martin, his second touchdown, and he dives to the end zone to get it.
And the key to the play was Boomer looked to his right, and maybe Hanford Dixon was looking into the backfield, because if he was looking into the backfield, that gave Martin an opportunity to get the edge. Take a look at it right now. It's an excellent pass thrown right over the corner man's head, and it's clearly Martin's got him beat, and then he does a good job of extending himself right into the end zone. We might have a ball game right now before this extra point is 28-10.
Breach puts it right through the middle, and just like that, opening the third quarter with an emphatic and a spectacular drive. 54 yards on the touchdown to Martin. It's a 28-10 ball game now in Cleveland.
This long row of junkers is not too tough a road for the famous Ford Bigfoot. But what about a regular Ford 4x4 carrying a Chevy? Yes, the tough advanced Ford makes it. Ford, the best-selling pickup in America for the 11th straight year.
Every day, over 30 million AT&T calls go through on the first try.
Thanks to a remarkably intelligent network that forecasts traffic, anticipates tie-ups, and determines the quickest way around them. All in less time than it takes to dial. The AT&T network, you can call it the mastermind of long distance.
Glad I got through.
We're reaching further to bring your world closer. AT&T, the right choice.
Being an all-round cowboy isn't always a case of throwing a perfect loop. Sometimes it's a sack of potatoes. And when you're ready for a second opinion, whoosh, head for the beer brewed natural as a mountain stream.
Well, that was really good. Once more? Sure.
Head for the mountains of Bush Beer.
Give your car better pickup with the new Black & Decker Car Vac Plus, the most powerful car vacuum made. The Black & Decker Car Vac Plus leaves everything else in the dust.
Today's game is brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By the power tool people at Black & Decker. And by AT&T, the right choice.
Well, a 54-yard touchdown strike, Esiason to Martin. That's the first time that a Cincinnati Bengals wide receiver has caught a touchdown pass against the Cleveland Browns since 1981. And the Bengals now trying to get back in it, kicking off, and this is Glenn Young from the 7-yard line. Powering straight ahead, and trying to make something happen there as he came back. He was finally dragged down by Leo Barker, and we'll see where they end up spotting the ball. He ends up being pulled down about the 21-yard line. He had progress well out across the 25 at one point.
Take a look at Boomer Esiason now. He's going to look to his right. Watch him look to his right, and it's at that moment maybe Dixon right now might be peeking in the backfield because Martin really beats him. He gets hit late, but he still gets the ball off. It's the one thing that Cleveland had to prevent, give Cincinnati any kind of life, and they've given them life early in the third quarter.
They used less than 3 minutes to get on the board here to start the second half. Fontenot in the backfield for Kozar and the Browns, and there's Mack. He was effective in the first half, and he's effective here, dragging defenders. Now progress takes him out to the 30 before they throw him back to the 25. The overzealousness of the Bengal defense being challenged by the partisan crowd here. David Fulcher making the tackle.
David Fulcher is the kind of a strong safety that plays like a linebacker. Take a look at Fulcher now, 33. He's going to be on defense. Now watch Mack as he searches to try to find a hole. Good block by Newsome. Now watch 33. Move his feet. Continue to look. There's Crumrice, 69, giving him some help. And you got another good down and distance situation for Kozar. It's second down and less than 5.
Good day for Mack with 73 yards, 22 of them coming on a touchdown run. Long count with second down. There's our hands to Mack again. This time not much working as he gets perhaps a yard or so straight ahead.
On the other flip side of this, Cincinnati cannot allow Cleveland to go down, kick a field goal, or score a touchdown because it'll deflate what they're trying to do right now. It's a third down, less than 1. They've got to stop Cleveland on this drive and get the ball back because the biggest factor right now for Cincinnati is the clock. They can move the ball. They've just hurt themselves in the first half. Cleveland did a great job, but they hurt themselves more so.
As the Browns come up to the line of scrimmage, it is Biner and back. The two setbacks. Brennan in the lineup, split wide to the right. Slaughter is wide left. 3rd and 1. On the ground, straight ahead, struggling. Mack, I don't know if he got there or not. It's going to be close. I don't think he made it.
He didn't get it because they stopped him. The spot is beyond the 35-yard line. They stopped him inside the 35-yard line. That's a big play by Cincinnati's defense, maybe the biggest play of this game thus far.
Hammerstein was in there to help out on the tackle. See if they're going to bring the chains in or whether or not they can just eyeball it and make a decision.
It's not even close, Gary. I don't think they made it. And there's no reason for Cleveland to go for it right now. The best thing for them to do is punt. They've got a good lead. Defense is playing very well. Get the ball to Cincinnati. But it was a good exchange for Cincinnati. Held Cleveland on 3 downs. Get the ball back now with less than 10 minutes to go.
Mike Martin drops back to anticipate the punt for the Bengals. Lee Johnson, who first effort today, as you can see, went only 29 yards. The barefoot kicker. Well, both punters barefooters in this game today. And here's Martin, who scored a minute ago on that 54-yard reception from Boomer Esiason. Johnson gets off a beauty. Crowd loves it. Oh, look at this punt. It's going all the way to the end zone. Oh, he hammered that one. 66 yards, and here's his reaction on the sideline. Getting quite a salute from this crowd here. They've seen the Browns suffer in the punting department this season, and Lee Johnson's happy right now. This is their 3rd punter of the year, and he just delivered a big one. So the Bengals, trailing by 18, will have the ball on the 20 in a moment.
Imagine a brain whose left side is as brilliant as its right. A brain as artistic as it is logical, that can calculate and create. Such a brain exists in the remarkable Apple II GS. Brilliant graphics, brilliant color, brilliant sound to help you use both sides of the most personal computer of all, your mind.
I know the Ford Taurus has a very contemporary design. In fact, I really like the way it looks. But looks aren't everything. Check it out for yourself.
So, what do you think? I'll let you know in a couple of 100 miles.
Now during Ford's Leadership Celebration, get a $600 cash bonus on Taurus.
This season, choose MasterCard.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand.
Welcome home, Rich.
Make this world a better place.
Oh, yes!
If you can.
Now, every time you use MasterCard, we'll donate money to 6 worthy causes. So use MasterCard and help make a difference.
Ready to go to Grandma? Good.
Reach out and touch somebody's hand.
Choose to make a difference. Choose MasterCard.
28-10 ball game here in Cleveland with Cleveland on top. And Sam Bertigliano, you go back to that first half interception by Clay Matthews. It could be a 21-17 ball game because of that 14-point swing.
That's right. It was a 14-point turnaround. They go in and score, and the score right now is 21-17. But Cincinnati's playing good defense. They got a chance. This game is not over yet.
Well, we saw the Bengals respond on that opening series of the third quarter, going 54 yards. Esiason, and he's going to the air to start things off on this series, completing a pass on the far sideline and being popped down at the 30 is Stanford Jennings. 8:50 to play here, third quarter, still a lot of time. Jennings, Mr. Reliable, according to Sam White, pulled down by Frank Minifield that time. White said that this had been a good week of preparation. But with all the bumps and bruises, he didn't have the guys do any hitting at all this week, no pads. And of course, there's been a lot of criticism and a lot of you would expect in a season that's been 4-8 and the disappointment that goes along with that record despite all the close calls. But he thought that his club was well prepared coming into this one today. Kennebrew. Nothing working at all on the left side this time. Clay Matthews spearheading the charge. Also Carl Hairston, a combination that teamed up on that big interception we spoke of a moment ago.
And what Cincinnati's looking for when they give the ball to the big guy, Kennebrew, on first down, they're looking for a 5-yard gain as we look at the 10-yard ticker. They don't want Esiason involved now in 2nd and 10 down throws because Cleveland is now going to just lay their ears back and put pressure on him, and his throws are going to be tight.
From the 30-yard line, 28-10, Cleveland leading Cincinnati, 7:45 to go. There's a good look at the big guy, Kennebrew, all 258 or 60 pounds there. Esiason being pressured, has to hurry. McGee might have had a chance, but boy, was the rush on that time. Matthews was leading the blitz coming from the left side with Hairston, and Boomer had to hurry that one.
That wasn't a blitz. They attacked Esiason. They brought Clay Matthews, and they brought Chris Rockins, 37. See, he's got his back turned because it's a play-action pass. The moment he sets up, there's Chris Rockins right in his face now. Now, that caused the errant throw, and that's better than a sack because usually those result in touchdowns instead of just sacks.
The Matthew Maniacs are in attendance here at Cleveland, along with a lot of other partisan fans of the Browns. Boy, the pressure was on the Browns, just, having lost those 2 ball games coming in, and there were a lot of grumblings going on in this city the last week. Right now they're up by 18. 4 defensive backs. Esiason to the sideline, trying to go to the tight end Holman, who was pretty deep downfield, and the ball was overthrown just a little bit.
He had him, but he was being double covered when 82 came out of the break. He was wide open, but Esiason just threw the ball a little too high. It tailed on him, and he had good enough protection to make that play.
Now coming off on the near side, they had a good look at Dave Pazzulli. Boomer talking with Sam White.
Take a look at Carl Hairston. He's just below Pazzulli, number 78. Pazzulli's 72. Now he's going to the inside. That's Montoya just knocking him in Platos, knocking him back to the outside.
Oh, the cube is hit hard. McNeil at the 26-yard line popped down on that punt. So 7:15, 7:16 to go here after a 47-yarder in the third quarter. It's still Cleveland by 18.
Japanese imports have long had a reputation for giving you more car for your money. But now that's just make-believe. Because Ford Escort, the world's best-selling car, offers the same features as Toyota Tercel, plus air conditioning, power mirrors, and a 660 powertrain warranty, all for less money than Tercel, which makes Ford Escort the real value.
Now, during Ford's Leadership Celebration, get a $400 cash bonus on Escort.
More power to live, more power to give, more power to do the things we do today. Ever ready? More power to
mighty batteries and flashlights. Vital power you can trust when you need it the most.
More power to the USA.
As long as I've known Tom, I need help, he's there.
Sure, I'm glad to see you. Stay with you?
Figured you wouldn't mind.
And when the last stray's rounded up, you head for the mountains. Bush. And the beer that goes down smooth as a mountain stream.
Sure owe you one.
How about this in here?
Head for the mountains of Bush beer.
The best and brightest of the bowls are on NBC as the #1 Oklahoma Sooners take on the only team to have beaten them in 3 seasons, the second-ranked Miami Hurricanes. A battle of undefeateds for the national championship at the Orange Bowl. New Year's Day, college football's best and brightest are on NBC.
In the back row, in the spotlight there, you see Paul Brown, the man who founded the Bengals back in 1968, and of course a longtime head coach here in Cleveland. From 46 to 62, a span that saw his teams win 7 titles here in Cleveland before he ventured south to Cincinnati.
But he won all his games on the sideline, not sitting in the loge.
Here's Kozar going to the air for Cleveland now, and this one over the outstretched arms of Ernest Biner coming out of the backfield.
And what they're doing is, see, they have Ernest Biner out as a wide receiver, and he's isolated on 37, Bobby Jackson, the strong safety, and Ernest Biner is going to win that one-on-one matchup. He's done it all day long, except this time he ran a deep pattern, and Bernie just overthrew him.
Biner comes into the game today with 45 receptions, big number, one of the AFC leaders.
And Cleveland should not abandon their running game because it was good for them in the first half.
Mack and Biner right behind Bernie Kozar right now with Brennan split wide to the right. Slaughter wide left. Kozar under pressure throwing to the left side. That's Slaughter. Nice reception at the 46-yard line. Protected the ball and stayed in bounds at the same time.
But Lewis Billups, the corner, didn't play the ball. He played the man. He had excellent coverage. Bernie really had to throw that ball off balance. And Billups, number 24, the Cincinnati cornerback, should have played the ball and not the man. Take a look at it right now. You see Bernie. Watch Bernie now. He's getting some pressure by Fulcher, 33. Now watch Billups, number 24. Play the ball. Get your hand in front and knock the ball down. You're not paid to make tackles down there. You're paid to make plays on the ball.
Billups, the second-year player out of Alabama that time, surrendering some yardage. Slaughter on the Browns. Come up with a first down now at the 46. Mack wanted to pop outside to the right. He has more room. Head down to the 42-yard line. That was Biner out there in front of him trying to put the block on Ray Horton. Horton trying to battle him off, and the collision of helmets finally knocked him down. 13-yard pickup.
You see what helped there was everybody on Cincinnati now thought he was going to go up off tackle or bounce it back to the inside. But you saw a guy of Mack's size, how he had the burst to accelerate, get to the outside, and he ran right by number 90, Emmanuel King, the left outside linebacker of Cincinnati.
And with that carry, as you saw, 91 yards rushing on the afternoon now for Mack. Newsom in the slot on the left side. Brennan wide to the right as Newsom starts in motion. Kozar with a little scramble move. Completes the pass. No, it's incomplete at the 41-yard line. They were somewhat shielded from our angle. Emmanuel King was over there with the coverage, but the official right on top of it being questioned by Newsom. But no reception.
They're putting a little bit more pressure on the middle of the pocket. I'm surprised that Cleveland's not running the ball more on first down because they're having a great deal of success.
In case you joined us late, Kozar had 3 first-half touchdown passes.
Now take a look at him right now. You see, he is running out of the pocket. He needs to set his feet and stay there. He's not getting that much pressure, and because he threw the ball sidearm, he didn't have control of it, and you just can't throw strikes unless you're throwing with good rhythm and you got your feet planted underneath you.
We have to assume that this delay means that the folks in the replay booth are taking another look. Now, that is just an assumption on our part.
See, Bernie now is moving around in the pocket. There's absolutely no reason for him to move around. And I'll tell you something right now. That is a catch. And the official, number 37, I believe, is making a mistake.
That's Burl Toller, number 37, who was taking a look there, and they are reviewing this play.
See, Ozzie got both feet and both knees down. The ball was out of bounds, but his body was in bounds.
Well, as soon as we get the decision from upstairs, Bob Frederick, the referee, on the left of this trio here, will let us know, let all of us know.
You know, amazing thing, Gary. Ozzie Newsome, number 82, has not fumbled a ball since 1980. It's unbelievable stat for a guy who's caught as many passes as he is. As we look at the replay booth upstairs, and they're probably right now arguing over peanut butter sandwiches, corned beef, pastrami. What are we going to do, guys? 37, I think you made a mistake. I thought he was inbounds.
Saw the name Pete Abitani of the NFL. He is here representing the NFL, but I think Dixon Holman is actually listed as the replay official.
See, both knees were in bounds.
Final review by instant replay. The play will not stand as it was called. Therefore, it will still be a second down. However, it is a completed pass.
Completed pass is the key word there.
Right.
Couldn't find that word reversal.
And it will be second down.
They only gained a yard or two on that one.
And Ozzie gets credit for a catch.
That's right. That's... You know, the announcement being made to the crowd here now, and you listen to their reaction as Ozzie has moved into 9th place on the all-time list of receivers. He's on the sideline for this play. Second down and 9. Cleveland in Cincinnati territory. The Bengals 39.
Watch Biner right here. He's outside flank. They got 3 guys to one side.
Langhorne, the motion man this time. Tennell now in at tight end. Mack searching. Turns that corner. Bumped down around the 31-yard line. They'll keep the clock running. Kevin Mack with a football. David Fulcher with the tackle.
Good strategy on the part of Cleveland right now. They've been running Mack up inside the first half. Now they're bouncing to the outside. Take a look right now. 81, Tennell is on 73, but the good block there is by Larry Williams, number 70. 74, Paul Farron makes the block that frees him, and Fulcher, 33, comes up and stops him. Not before he doesn't get another first down on Cincinnati's 30-yard line.
Mack flirting with the 100-yard mark, now at 98 on 14 carries with 5 minutes to play in the third quarter.
And I guarantee he'll get it on this play.
Well, so much for your guarantee, Coach. Over the middle, they get a bunch more as Brennan pulls one in at the 20. Brian Brennan to about the 19-yard line in the grasp of Carl Zander and Ray Horton.
And Bernie Kosar took a shot from the nose tackle, Tim Crumry. That's why he delivered the ball a little late, and it was sidearm. You can see Kosar right now.
He's limping just a little bit. He's a little ginger right now.
Take a look at it right now as we watch Kosar in the pocket. Look at 69 coming around. 57 is Reggie Williams, and there's the shot right there.
Crumry gave him a pop, all right.
57, Reggie Williams was on a stunt, and that freed Crumry, as you see, 69 taking a shot. That's why quarterbacks get all the money, because they deliver the ball and they take those open shots.
First down from the 19 in Bengal territory. Browns lead this one 28-10. Miner in motion to the left. Timing pattern. Touchdown, Cleveland. It's Slaughter in the end zone. It'll go into the books as an 18-yarder. Art Modell in the booth next door. Boy, they're feeling a whole lot better in Cleveland today, let me tell you. And Kosar, he's having a day. That's his 4th touchdown pass, and the 2nd to Slaughter. This one goes 18 yards.
I'll guarantee you, Slaughter went into the huddle, as we look at it right now, and told Bernie he could beat the corner. That's Biner going up inside. The ball's up to the outside. Slaughter beats Billups on the line of scrimmage. If the corner and bumper run doesn't beat the receiver on the line of scrimmage, the game is over, and Slaughter clearly was open, and it was a good touch pass on the part of Kosar.
Matt Barr continues his streak of perfections and point afters. His first duty of the 87 season. The first week he's been activated. You see a happy Slaughter and Kosar on the sideline, and the Browns once again with the big lead.
The Black & Decker Workmate. About all it can't help you do is clean up. But at least it gets out of your way. The Black & Decker Workmate.
Some guys, they have it all. Some guys are just too big.
wait for something good to happen? Make it happen with the clean, masculine scent of English leather cologne.
Some guys have what others want. Some guys have it all.
English leather. Some guys have it all.
Nowadays, when it comes to telecommunications, there's a great deal of confusion. With so many different products and services available, it's a real problem knowing what's just right for your company. Well, we have a way to end that confusion and solve those problems. We can help custom tailor an entire telecommunications system to your company's exact needs. No, GTE.
Mustang GT, for people who want more out of life than a little peace and quiet.
From Florida, a star-studded all-new Bob Hope Christmas show with the All-America College football team.
Heisman Trophy winner, Tim Brown.
The Bob Hope Christmas show.
Saturday.
Now, for the first time in his young career, Bernie Kosar has had a 4-touchdown day. He has thrown for 4, 14 of 21 for 170 yards. 2 of the 4 caught by Webster Slaughter. And the momentum that Cincinnati was trying to generate has taken a serious detour now with that series.
They came back with a touchdown, but they gave one up, so that hurt. But Kosar has thrown the ball on good down and distance situations. He's not having to make the deep throws because of the running game.
Bussey from the 4-yard line. Penalty marker down as he cracks out to the 25 and is pulled down there. Once again, a penalty, however, has been detected. And this one works, as we so frequently see on the return team, it appears. Mark Harper with the tackle on the special teams for Cleveland.
Got a holding penalty against Cincinnati. He's going to back the ball back further. They're going to be operating again from the shadow of their goalpost.
They've had tough luck with the penalties today. They've come in inopportune times, and it seems like it just so many times it's pushed them back toward their own goal line instead of toward midfield.
Well, what's happened is Cincinnati's operating on a field 75 to 85 yards long every time they have a drive. Cleveland, because of their field position, they're operating on a field about 40 to 50 yards long, so as a result, Cleveland's got more points. Cincinnati's penalties have killed them today. Mistakes.
Well, the little sunshine that we had early in the day, as you can see now, long gone. It is gray, it is dank and cold here along the shores of Lake Erie, as Frederick will give us the call.
Pass from the
kicking team was offside, and that penalty will be refused. Receiving team, number 93, illegal use of the hands, blocked above the waist.
I think he's got a teleprompter out there. He's not reading it very well, is he?
Kiki Diayala, number 93 on the receiving team, and number 78 that was offside was Hairston on the kickoff for the Browns.
Looking at a 93-yard drive right now, Gary. He's got to come up with a big throw on first down.
Baker has come in now as a 4th down lineman. Bad to the bone. You see the folks down there in the dog pound. They've at least gotten them to cease throwing the dog biscuits and the paraphernalia on the field that was featured early in the season in their exuberance and enthusiasm. They've been trying to power on to a very big win here and try to break out of a tie in the AFC Central. Remember now, Houston losing today, and Pittsburgh, the 3rd team that is in this tie, playing the later game. Well, we've still got a conference going on. And an official timeout.
Come on, guys, let's get it together.
Getting cold. 35-10 is our score. You can see how the folks are bundled up against the elements. Now, of course, these people, these are the regulars here at Cleveland. Us Californians that come in, this is cold to us, but this isn't really cold for Cleveland, is it, Coach?
This is the Midwest. Played in grass and dirt and grime right outside Lake Erie. This is where football was born and be made, not to be played in synthetically inside under control, 70-degree temperature with people with lounging chairs.
Well, look at this. New England now 42-6 over the Jets, and Miami has opened up an 18-point cushion on Philly. Buffalo, Indianapolis, still no change there. The Bills defense doing a number on the Colts. Washington breezing against Dallas, and oh, how the Cowboys have struggled. Houston has closed the gap a bit on New Orleans in the 3rd quarter.
After review by instant replay, play will stand as called. And it will be first down and 10.
Okay. As called, first down and 10. Ball at the 8-yard line. Cincinnati in their own territory. Esiason with 1 touchdown pass today. It was a 54-yard beauty in the third quarter to open the second half to Mike Martin. Noise level building here in Cleveland, urging the Browns defense. Here comes the big rush. Esiason with time, but a ball that may have been tipped. I'm not sure. It took a peculiar trajectory.
He heard his throw. He was trying to get the ball to Larry Kinnebrew, but he was getting pressured, and he felt the fact that he was in his end zone. So in that situation, you got to get rid of the ball a lot quicker.
Down to 3.5 minutes to go, third quarter.
Watch Carl Harrison, 78. You got 2 men blocking him. You got the center, Dave Remington, and you got 75, the left guard, Bruce Reimers.
Jennings in motion. Boomer with a little pump fake, sidearms it out and completes the ball to the 15. No, it was knocked away. It was intended for Jennings. Boomer did a good job of just trying to elude the grasp and get the pass off, but as it turned out, that was one of those dangerous passes.
Yeah, Cincinnati's out of sync right now. They're backed up in the hole. Take a look right now. Remember the in the grasp rule now. He's going to step up in the pocket, right there. He pulls it down. Now he's almost in the grasp, but remember, by Bob Golick, 79, it's in the grasp, under control, and that's the rule. Bob Golick, 79, was not under control, so it wasn't a sack.
You see the down and distance and what the Bengals have done thus far. 3 for 8 in that category on third downs. Cleveland showing the blitz. Movement in the line. Boomer steps up and fires it out here. Completes the pass at the 30-yard line, and pulling it in is Eddie Brown.
And I'll tell you what, Gary, that was a big play by Boomer, but a bigger play by his receiver, 81, Eddie Brown. Boomer stepped up in the pocket and threw for first down, because had they had to punt from the end zone, they would have been in deep trouble.
22 yards on the pickup. We haven't heard much of Eddie Brown thus far in this ball game today. Came in with 35 receptions, and that was his first of the afternoon.
He's a better receiver when Chris Collinsworth is on the other side.
Remember, Collinsworth is sidelined with a bad ankle that he suffered last week. Good protection this time for Boomer, who wants to go deep. Streaking on the sidelines and making the catch is McGee. Boy, when you give Esiason time, whoa, look out.
Well, they were in a double zone over there with Minifield up tight and Felix Wright in behind him, and he threw the ball over Minifield in front of Wright, and Felix Wright, the safety, has got to make that play, but it was a great throw. But it's the safety's play on a double zone like that.
45 yards on that pickup for McGee, who played his high school ball here in Cleveland. That gives all those rooters we were talking about that he has in the stand something to get excited about here today. 3 receptions for big numbers, 77 yards.
Interesting right now, Boomer's going to have the big numbers, but it doesn't show up on the scoreboard.
They have 10 points to show for it thus far, and they trail by 25. It's 35-10 with 2:45 to play third quarter. Cincinnati in Cleveland territory. This is Jennings trying to dart into an opening in the middle of the line and gets a couple of yards before Clay Matthews is there to make the tackle.
Forget about the running game. They got to throw the ball on 4 downs.
We're going to New York now to check other activity on this very significant day with Bob Costas.
Dan Marino's having a good day in Philadelphia. He's thrown for 3 touchdowns, 1 to Mark Duper, 2 to this man, Mark Clayton, and the Dolphins lead the Eagles late in the third quarter, 28-10. If that holds up, and if Buffalo maintains their lead over the Colts, there'll be a 3-way tie atop the AFC East.
Well, everybody trying to stay in it. All these ties that we've had almost every week has really made it interesting. The Bengals trying to generate some momentum. Nice pop there after Stanford Jennings made the reception. Over on the corner, Chris Rockins with a good hit, number 37.
Yeah, that was an outstanding hit, because Jennings would have turned that up and definitely would have got a first down. Now Cincinnati's got to go for it on third down. Again, the clock will be moving. They will not kick a field goal. If they don't make it on third down, they're going to go at it for 2 shots. So look possibly for a play-action pass here for a surprise, and then go for it on 4th down.
Third down, about a yard, yard and a half needed. The ball just short of the 16-yard line. Wide to the near side is McGee. Brown split wide right. On the ground, it's Kinnebrew. Close to first down yardage, but I don't know. They stand him up. a little short of the 15.
Well, the key is I don't think he made it, but by the same token, the clock is running. Right now, they needed to get in there before the fourth quarter started, because if they can get a touchdown, it's 35-17. Still got 15 minutes left to play. But they've got to pick up this first down right now. They got to make the yardage. It's going to be less than a yard for Cincinnati.
And you can see we're inside the final minute now of the third quarter, and the spot actually puts the ball at the 16, so he gained nothing.
He actually lost yardage, possibly.
They weren't even close. So here comes a big call now.
If they stop him here, this game virtually could be over. They've got to score on this drive.
80,000 Cleveland fans roaring for the defense to do the stopping. The Bengals put Jennings in motion. Esiason with time completes it over the middle to Eric Caddis. Caddis struggling at the 1-yard line. He was very close to the goal line, and a good play right over the middle to Eric Caddis.
Gutsy call on the part of Sam Weiss and Boomer Esiason, the quarterback. Take a look at Caddis now. He's a tight end, and he's going to go in the middle. Now it's 36 in motion. Caddis is on the top of your screen, number 84. Now Boomer is waiting. Then he lays the ball to the inside. Now he's being hit right there by Felix Wright. Almost gets into the end zone, and it's a end of the quarter, 1st and goal on the 2-yard line for Cincinnati.
So at the end of the third quarter, it is Cleveland 35, the Cincinnati Bengals 10. We invite you to stick with us. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
Tonight in a surprising 1-hour Family Ties, what secrets will Alex's girlfriend uncover when she investigates this typical American family?
I'd always consider myself not being typical.
You succeeded at that.
Introducing the Holidays Tumbler from Arby's. Authentic 22-karat gold rim. Elegant holly design. And yours for a special price from Arby's. It's so nice you may want to give it as a gift. Or you may not.
Holidays tumblers, just 99 cents with a purchase of any medium soft drink at Arby's.
We on the selection committee feel that this new Cintas uniform rental program will favorably impact employee performance, save them time and money, and improve the overall image of the company.
Great. So what do the employees think?
My uniform's red hot. My uniform's red hot. Hey, it looks good. And feels fine now.
Uniforms from Cintas. Because if you're not in Cintas, you're not in uniform.
Red hot, looks good.
Someone put a bender in my left front fender. My 4x4.
Allstate makes an accident a little easier to take. We offer a repair guarantee, and in most cases, we'll give you a settlement on the spot.
I parked in a lot in a place that I trusted, but when I returned, my window was busted. Leave it to the good hands, people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
She's the Sheriff, Tuesday night at 7:30 on Channel 3.
Along with Sam Rutigliano, I'm Gary Gerald. Happy to have you with us here in Cleveland today. The Bengals trailing 35-10, but threatening now from the 1-yard line. There's Kennebrew, and the Brewmaster looks like he's stacked up at the goal line. Did he get it or did he not get it?
They signal a touchdown.
Touchdown has been signaled. There we see Breach running on. I wasn't sure for a moment whether or not he got in. But indeed, they do have the touchdown, and Kennebrew heads for the sidelines. Touchdown number 6 this season for the big man. Looking at a conversion attempt coming up here for Jim Breach now. 35-16, looking for the 17th point of the afternoon, trying to keep hopes alive on this, the first play of the fourth quarter.
Well, that one touchdown pass to Slaughter took a lot of starch out of Cincinnati, because, you know, right now it could be 28-17. They'd be back in the ball game. Got to play good defense on this initial drive.
9 plays, 92 yards. The conversion by Breach good. It's now 35-17. Cleveland still in command.
Eric smile. Eric waved to Daddy. Phooey. Since they got that little RCA camcorder, I get no peace. It's so easy. He takes it everywhere. Dad. Oh, well, I guess someday I'll look back at this and laugh.
Finally, a VHS camcorder so small, so easy to use, it doesn't miss a thing. Trust RCA to bring it to you. The Small Wonder VHS from RCA.
I have a very long Christmas shopping list. A whole football team that my career depends on. But my shopping is easy because they let me know exactly what they want. Isotoner gloves for men. I buy isotoners for the big guys and the super fast little guys and everyone in between. Because isotoners fit them all. So this Christmas, take care of the hands that take care of you with isotoner gloves.
Way to go, Dan. Thanks a lot.
Next Sunday, the NFL plays here when the Seahawks battle the Bears.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
Last week when Cleveland scored only 7 points in the 9-7 loss to Indianapolis, it was their lowest point production since 1985. Today they have put 35 points on the board, and Kennebrew going the yard here for Cincinnati's most recent score, their second touchdown along with a Breach field goal, and now Breach to kick off. Glenn Young standing back at about the 10-yard line. This is a very short kick, going to be fielded at about the 27 and down right there. No opportunity for a run back, just short of the 30-yard line.
Tim Manoa, number 42, fielded the ball. It was a short kick, but then he dropped it, and they got the ball on the 32-yard line.
Leo Barker was down there with the coverage. We'll take a look at the touchdown run of Kennebrew.
Watch Kennebrew right now. He's got to get a good block by his tight end. Good block by 36 Jennings on Rockins. Then Kennebrew just used sheer power to get into the end zone.
Good look also at how he was protecting the ball with both arms as he got into the end zone. Caps it off with a little spike. So from the 29, Cleveland now with the football, leading 35-17, just underway in the fourth quarter.
Big series for Cincinnati's defense.
Kozar with a pitch outside to Mack. Mack waiting, looking for the hole to open up. Gets maybe a yard before he's bumped out of bounds. He had the whole defensive unit led by Joe Kelly coming over there. We'll take a look at the 10-minute ticker once again now and keep you posted on all these significant games. Look at New England and what they're doing to the New York Jets today. My, oh my.
AFC East could very well go into a three-way tie at the end of the day if Buffalo holds on to that lead.
Buffalo beating Indianapolis. Jets winning big, Miami winning. New Orleans still over Houston, another significant game.
And remember, Pittsburgh plays the 4 o'clock game at San Diego, and they're tied with Cleveland.
All kinds of interesting implications. Just 2 weeks in the regular season after today. On the 30-yard line, Ozzie Newsome, who's caught some balls in the first half today of motion. Kozar throwing, making the catch over there on his knees with Biner, and Biner struggling ahead for a yard, and that's about all. Ray Horton with the coverage over there.
Well, Biner gets a lot of isolated one-on-ones. Very few backs could play as a flanker, as Ernest Biner does, because he always draws the strong safety, and he can outmaneuver that guy, and he has excellent hands. Ernest Biner has the hands of a receiver.
Last year, he missed virtually most of the season, an ankle injury and surgery, and of course, the year before, he had a big year, rushed for 1,000 yards. He has been a valuable cog in Cleveland's record thus far this season.
Third down, big play for the Browns and for the Bengals.
5-man rush. Kozar over the middle, completes it to Biner across midfield, still on his feet down to the 42-yard line.
And again, he got isolated on David Fulcher, the strong safety, and Bernie had the time to get the ball to him. Anytime you run a crossing pattern and you got a one-on-one, if your quarterback has the time, it's going to come up with a big play.
Jackson finally pulled him down, but not before he gained 23 yards.
Key was 3rd down and 5, and now Cleveland not only has the ball, but they're in excellent field position.
Well, the Cincinnati defense has had opportunities, but they haven't been able to come up with the sequence to stop the Browns and get the football back. From the 42 in Bengal territory, Biner in motion. Hand off to Mack. Mack working the left side of the 37-yard line, possibly. Tim Crumroy again in there.
13 minutes to go now. You know, run the ball on 1st down, run the ball on 3rd down. keep the clock going. They're in excellent field position right now. The biggest problem Cincinnati has right now is they can't stop the Browns' running or passing game, and obviously the clock is the killer for Cincinnati.
See the numbers for Mack. 17 carries now, 103 yards, 1 rushing touchdown. He caught a touchdown pass as well of a couple of yards from Kozar. Kozar has thrown for 4 scores in this one today. Esiason has 1 touchdown pass. And Kennebrew added the Bengals' second score just a few minutes ago. Inside the 40 in Cincinnati territory, Cleveland with a football. Miner again is split left with Brennan. Slaughter is to the right side. Now Brennan in motion. Mack picking the hole. It's a couple of yards to about the 35, muscled back to the 36-yard line, and the Bengals trying to get the football. And now we got Kelly going at it with somebody here.
Kelly and Ernest Biner are in a fight. What's going to happen right now, there's going to be unsportsmanlike conduct on the offense, on the defense, and they're going to have third down.
Take a look at it here now.
Take a look at Bernie as he's going to hand the ball off on a off-tackle play. Now, Mack is looking for the hole, Biner is obviously blocking on 58, right at the bottom of his screen.
Face mask, number 44 of the offense.
Face mask, number 44 of the offense. Now, that's a new one. Face mask.
There he grabs, he's going for it
because
right
they were fighting.
Yeah.
Well, what happened there is they got the last guy. And usually the last guy that gives the blow is the guy that gets caught, and the team is penalized as a result. As we look at Joe Kelly, inside linebacker, #1 draft choice from the University of Washington for Cincinnati.
Oh, he's been a good one, too.
Hey, take a look right now. See, that's really not a face mask. That's a takedown.
Well, they were tussling there for a while, and we just kind of stood back and watched it. Ball moved back to the 49-yard line.
After the down, number 2 was over. Therefore, it is third down.
Okay, third down by Frederick Sass. 12:04 to go. Cleveland leading 35-17. Bengals obviously need the football.
They've been very successful running crossing patterns today, because what they're doing, they're getting isolated on Cincinnati safeties and linebackers with people that can beat that one-on-one matchup.
4 wide receivers as Langhorne, Slaughter, Weathers, and Young are all in now for Cleveland. Third down for Kozar. Cincinnati showing blitz, 5-man rush. They pick it up, and Bernie wants to go deep. Slaughter, no chance. Almost picked off back there by Fulcher. He went all the way back to the 8-yard line, and there was really no opportunity for Slaughter to get close to the football. Just a question of whether or not David Fulcher could hang on to it.
And Fulcher should have made that play. He's had 3 interceptions. He's got 3 sacks, and the ball was right there for him, and he might have gotten a decent return, because right now with Cincinnati, with Cleveland punting, Cincinnati may find themselves in the hole.
Martin back in the deep spot now for the Bengals. Lee Johnson, who equaled a career record with a 66-yarder earlier out of his end zone, and what a big punt that one was, is on now, standing back at his own 35-yard line. See if the Bengals come after him here. Gets this one off. Not as pretty as the last one. Fair catch being called at the 13-yard line by Martin. 11:34 to play here in Cleveland. Cincinnati goes to work, trailing 35-17 after we take this break. Stay with us.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
Look how easy the HX is to use.
Incredibly easy to use, the Tandy 1000 HX includes 7 ready-to-run programs.
And it was on sale for only $8.49.
It even comes with a color monitor and runs PC-compatible software.
Look at Peter! They'll love this surprise.
The Tandy 1000 HX and color monitor on sale only $8.49, only at Radio Shack.
What makes the Formula One World Champion such a great race car? Computer-programmed fuel injection. Dual overhead cams. 4 valves per cylinder. What makes this such a great street car? Exactly the same technology. The Integra. Precision-crafted performance from Acura.
Today's game is brought to you by Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. Everything else is just a light. By Kmart, the savings place. We're proud to say you've made us America's favorite store. And by Radio Shack, the technology store.
Well, you saw Santa on the sidelines. This particular Santa has been here the last 5 years for a Browns game, and the Browns have had a victory every time the bearded one patrolled the sidelines. And today, they're leading 35-17. Cincinnati now having to go to work as Boomer Esiason will try to get his club back in it. Firing, overthrowing the intended receiver at the 35-yard line was Tim McGee.
Boomer's ball sailed. He was going to McGee. Had good tight coverage by Hanford Dixon, and usually when your ball sails like that, you got too much pressure on your back foot. And Boomer does that a lot.
Miami by 18 still. New England with a big day. Buffalo holding Indianapolis to just 3 points through the first 3 quarters. Other activity today, Minnesota and their playoff hopes getting a jolt here as Green Bay has gone on top now. The Vikings 16-10.
Vikings are figuring to be that second wild card in the NFC.
2nd and 10 now for Esiason and the Bengals. Jennings, the lone setback. Boomer completes the pass. Caddis, the tight end, at the 21-yard line, and finally going to be dragged down. Chris Rockins was over there, and Mike Johnson.
One of the things that really impresses me about the defensive secondary at Cleveland, they remind me of Pittsburgh in '78 and '79. They're great tacklers. You know, people catch balls and guys are right there to tackle them, and they really don't get that extra yardage. And it's kind of a hidden compliment of the defensive secondary. They're really great, sure, tough tacklers.
They have given up through the first 12 games of this season an average of 15.4 points a game, and they've surrendered 17 to the Bengals thus far in this one with 10:42 to go. Jennings trying to work outside to the left, turning into some real loose turf over there, and pulled down by Johnson.
Going to be tight, Gary. They're going to probably have to measure. He might have made it, but again, there was a good flow. He's got it. There was a good flow of people going to the ball. You know, one of the great things you look for defense is a very simple term. People staying on their feet and going to the ball. You always see 3, 4, 5 orange helmets around the ball. Take a look at 36 Jennings right now. He's got to get the first down. Now he's following Kennebrew. He gets a good block. Now he bounces out to the outside. Now watch the first contact by Golick right there. Now watch the ricochets. It's like a machine gun. There's one right there, and here comes a bunch of other orange helmets right on the ball.
Well, they got the first down. 9:50 to go. Bengals need more than first downs right now, however. Here's the pass out here, tipped away by Martin. Spectacular defensive coverage by Frank Minifield. Those defenders back there in the secondary kind of licking their chops, I would imagine, because they know they're going to get a workout, as well as the down linemen are saying, we'll just lay our ears back and go after that quarterback now.
Well, this is the time of the game. Take a look at Martin right now on Minifield. He's going to the outside. And watch, he leans into him, but the ball's not up. You see, the ball is there too late. Had Esiason delivered the ball when Martin, 88, came out of his break, it wouldn't have given Minifield the opportunity to recover. And that's the difference between a reception, timing by the quarterback and the receiver. The ball should have been up in the air quicker.
And it looked like that one sailed just a little bit once again, as a couple of others have today for Boomer. The lefty backpedaling, setting up, this time going down the left side deep. Oh, spectacular catch at the 36-yard line by Tim McGee. Hanford Dixon back there with the coverage. McGee stretching out on the sideline, and boy, that was a super individual effort.
Well, you couldn't have covered it better than Hanford Dixon. Take a look at Boomer right now. He's looking to the right. Now he's going to go back to McGee. Now let's watch 29 and 85. 85 now, watch both feet. One right foot. See, the fact that he fell to the ground made it an inbounds pass. Had he taken a step with his left foot, it would have been out of bounds. Great throw by Boomer. Outstanding catch by Tim McGee, because Hanford Dixon covered it as well as you can.
That was for 40 yards. McGee has made a pair of big gainers here in this second half. Here's Kennebrew. Penalty markers everywhere. Kennebrew breaking a couple of tackles to the 29.
36, Stanford Jennings was offside.
See the illegal motion indication here from Frederick. Felix Wright made the tackle that time. 190 pounds against Kennebrews 260.
And it's the same thing now. It's less than 10 minutes to go. They're going to have a 1st and 15 as opposed to a 2nd down and 2.
Illegal motion, number 36 on the offense. First down will be replayed.
Ball moved back now to the 41-yard line. Jennings in the backfield.
They came into this game with a lot of penalties. You know, there's a lot of things that hurt Cincinnati in this game. But penalties loom and mistakes really hurt drives. Like right now, rather than have a 2nd and 2, they got to throw on a 1st and 15. But, you know, this thing's not over yet. There's plenty of time left.
It's the 5th time this year that Esiason has been over 300 yards. This one out to Kennebrew. He gets ahead of steam, and he gets a 1st down as he gets inside the 25 and down actually to about the 21-yard line. Eddie Johnson banging him out of bounds.
Well, Cleveland came with a blitz, but the good thing about it was Esiason was laying the ball off to Kennebrew in the flat right away, so the blitz didn't bother him. He was able to get the ball to Kennebrew. Take a look at right now. Look at the screen to your left. Here comes Mike Johnson, 59, but he's got a chance to lay it off to Kennebrew, and he's going to get turned upfield. Good block by 85 McGee, and Eddie Johnson, 51, makes the play.
18 yards in the pickup for the 1st down. 9:07 to play in the ball game. You see the score, 35-17. Bengals battling desperately. A lot of pride on the line in this one. And of course, the speculation about the job security for head coach Sam White. Here's Esiason to the far sideline. Martin doing the little number with the feet to pull that one in the vicinity of the 14-yard line. Minifield again with the coverage. And now Boomer utilizing the clock well as we're still just over 9 minutes to go.
Tough coverage because Martin's going across in motion and Minifield has to chase him. So as a result, when Martin breaks to the outside, Frank Minifield, 31, is behind him. It's a well-designed motion play, then get him out into the flat, and it's tough for the corner as he has to chase him across the entire formation.
Esiason this year had a 425-yard game against, well, that was last year against the New York Jets. We mentioned that he's had 4 over 300 this year. Has put up some big numbers. Today now working on the ground in this particular play to the 10-yard line. His back being rolled back.
He was not on the ground.
Coming out of there with a football for the Browns. That was Eddie Johnson who had his hands on it. See Remington slowly getting up, who was trying to lead the surge there on the offensive line.
Watch the first hit on Kennebrew, and then all the other orange helmets join. Kennebrew is going to the left on the bottom of the screen. Now watch right now. There's the hit right there.
Ooh.
By 59, but Eddie Johnson, 51. He's not a big guy, but he's a big hitter.
Yeah, that ball looked like it popped loose. May have well been after the whistle. No replay, no second look. Ball at the 10-yard line. Bengals need everything they can muster right now. Protection, little pump fake, going to the end zone, no opportunity. Penalty marker down. This one, I believe, is going to be called on Hanford Dixon.
Dixon on 88, Mike Martin in the end zone. The ball goes to the 1-yard line. He beat him to the flag, and rather have him beat for touchdown, he held him, and so that they could just get the penalty and have a chance.
Defensive holding, number 29, and it will be first down.
So this one will move the ball down ever closer to the goal line. The clock stopped at 8:12 to go. 35-17 Cleveland as we look at Esiason.
Gary, if they get this play in, they're only 2 scores away from putting this thing in overtime.
Ball at the 6-yard line. And a first down after the penalty.
Not in overtime, winning the game.
Into the near sideline, caught by Caddis, but he gets only a couple of yards. They'll keep the clock running.
I got to check my arithmetic. They need 3 scores, but that's another dangerous throw. That's the exact same throw to Caddis that he threw to Holman that Clay Matthews intercepted.
Right.
See, you can't throw that pass late because you hang the ball right on the sideline, and it gives the linebacker or the guy covering an opportunity to recover and make the play on the ball.
Kennebrew, the lone setback. Anthony Munoz is over on the right side as a tight end. He has caught 4 touchdowns in his career, and he's in motion. They're looking for him. No good. Munoz set up over on the right side and went in motion to the left. He caught a touchdown pass earlier this year, the 4th in his career, and that one wasn't that close.
Well, you got Munoz moving in motion. Take a look at Munoz, 78 right now, and he's getting some pressure right there. See, the pressure is by Matthews, number 57, which causes the errant throw. But you don't take a tackle and put him in motion on a play like that. If you keep him still, it's a lot different. Take a look at Matthews, who's having a great game. Had the great interception and lateral to his buddy, Carl Hairston.
3rd down and goal, ball just inside the 3. Cincinnati threatening, and they need it badly. 35-17, they trail. Kennebrew straight ahead, leaning, gets close to the goal line. He did not score, but he was close to the plane. It's going to be 4th and goal.
The problem with this drive, Gary, it's taking too much time. You know, it was 8 minutes just a few seconds ago. Now it's taking a lot of time. They got to get a bunch of scores, and they can't afford to have wasted all this time. And, of course, now they're 4th down. They've got to go for it.
Well, they're down to 7:03. Now at the 7-minute mark. A lot of noise being generated right down there in the bleacher section of the dog pound in Cleveland. Bengals staring right into it with 4th down. Kennebrew, did he get in? Yes, he did. The second effort on the lean as he spun inside ended up doing it. He was hit initially. It looked like a little bit short, but he got in there, and there's the spike to cap it off.
Well, the initial contact was there. They needed some other people to come to try to stop him from surging into the end zone as we take a look at it. Look at the second surge right now. Here's the first pop right here. Boom! He's held up right there. Now someone has to come in from the other side, and they can't make the play. See, it's the second surge that caused the touchdown. It was a great effort by Kennebrew.
12 plays, 87 yards, but the clock a factor at 6:45 to go as Breach is on for the conversion attempt. A lot of points have been scored already today, 58 thus far, and now you can make it 59, and it is a 35-24 Cleveland advantage with 6:45 left to go. Well, the Bengals still have a flicker of hope in life. It's up to their defense now as they go to work in a moment.
Run the lights here.
Ask for Bud Light. The light beer with the first name and taste.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
You think I'll get that bike at Kmart?
How should I know?
That broken window's gonna kill me.
Nah, they forget about that stuff. Go back to your bed.
I feel sleepier over here. Where'd you go, John?
Your bed.
Can I come over there?
The night before Christmas from Kmart, the saving place.
Mitsubishi knows you want a truck to be tough.
Tough ain't enough.
But we also know you want more for your money.
Tough ain't enough anymore.
Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks give you more. Up to 2.6 liters of power, a 5-speed stick, more standard features for less than Toyota, Nissan, or Mazda. Even the lowest priced macro cab.
Tough ain't enough.
The new Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks.
Tough ain't enough anymore.
Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
Next Saturday, the NFL plays here when the Chiefs battle the Broncos.
Before your team takes the field, our team hits the air. NFL Live.
You see the numbers on the scoring drive. Kennebrew capping it off with the final yard. And look at this configuration on the kick here now as the Bengals, with 6:45 to go, down 11, want the football. They fake the onside, loft it down in the middle. Viner makes an over-the-shoulder catch at the 22 and slides down at the 25-yard line.
The reason they did that, Gary, is to fake the onside kick so Cleveland would not have a return. It was too early to kick the onside kick, and now Cleveland's operating from inside the 25-yard line, and of course Cincinnati's got to make them go 3 downs and punt.
So it'll be up to their defense as we check the ticker once again. Buffalo pouring it on against Indianapolis. The interesting implications of this one now with a 20-3 lead. Indianapolis had the 1-game lead in the AFC East coming in, but Buffalo threatening to tie it up. And this is a final. Green Bay jolting the Vikings playoff hopes. New Orleans still by 14 over Houston. This is a 35-24 ball game in Cleveland with the Browns leading. Cleveland with the football, and on the ground, Mack has had a 100-yard rushing day. Gets nothing this time.
What Cleveland needs now is first downs. They don't need to score. They just need first downs. They need to make sure that they eat up Cincinnati's 3 timeouts with 6:22 and the clock is running. Very important for Cincinnati the next time they get the ball to go to the no-huddle offense. They don't want to use their timeouts right now. They want to go to the no-huddle offense, hope to get another drive together and get this thing at 35-21.
Skip McClendon, the rookie out of Arizona State, made that last tackle. You see Esiason and White's plotting strategy if the Bengals can get the ball back. We're at the 6-minute mark exactly now. Pressure, a lot of them coming on Kozar. He loses the football. Now, was he in the grass? The Bengals are headed for the end zone, but they're going to bring it back. Carl Zander had the football. You could hear the whistle even up here in the booth.
Would you believe that play? It would have been 35-31. Wow. What a big play. Must have been in the grass. Boy, they dodged the bullet right there. With 5:45 to go, 35-21. Wow.
They had 6, maybe even 7 men coming that time.
Incomplete pass. There was a forward motion starting, and then when the ball was hit.
It's even worse. It wasn't even a sack. Take a look at it right now. If his arm is moving forward, that's an incompleted pass. You see, his arm is moving forward. He actually catches it, and that is very, very close. But the fact that his arm was moving forward made it an incompleted pass.
Carl Zander was the man who got in there, and he also ended up with a football, but to no avail. So it's 3rd down.
They got a pressure.
6-man rush. Protection. Looking deep. Slaughter. Pulled down at the 30-yard line. Kozar delivers again when the pressure was on.
And that's the biggest play of this quarter. 43 yards. Webster was on Phillips again, and Webster Slaughter has owned Lewis Phillips, the right corner of Cincinnati, all day long. Now take a look at Bernie right now. He gets it up fast, and it's a great throw. Good catch, but an outstanding throw. They were coming with the blitz. There was no safeties inside to try to help them, and that really hurts Cincinnati right now. Watch Kozar. See, he sees it right away, and what he does is get rid of the ball, throw it in the middle, and gives Slaughter an opportunity to run underneath it.
Did you see he was clapping his hands as soon as he released the ball, Sam? He knew that he had something going on that one.
Big play. Big, big play.
He was clapping before Slaughter caught it. Slaughter's had a day, too. From the 31-yard line. Actually, we'll call it the 30. Here's Mack. We'll go back on the ground, and Mack picks up 5 to the 25-yard line. 4:40 to go in the ball game. Well, the excitement continues here and elsewhere around the league as we check in with Bob Costas in New York.
Well, the Vikings were looking to wrap up a wild card spot. It didn't happen at County Stadium in Milwaukee. The game is tied. Just over a minute left on a 3rd and goal play. Kenneth Davis takes the handoff and goes in from 7 yards out. They missed the kick, but the Pack didn't care. They upset the Vikings 16-10.
All right. Big day for the Green Bay Packers. Tough day for the Vikes. Webster Slaughter has caught 5 balls for 119 yards in this one and 2 touchdowns. And the Browns still in command here as they go back to work on the ground close to the 20-yard line with Mack just pounding away in there. And we're down inside the 4-minute mark now at 3:50 to go.
What a difference a play makes. The previous play, it could have been a fumble. Cincinnati could have scored, but, you know, coulda, woulda, shouldas don't win games. You know, ifs and buts were candy and nuts. Christmas every day.
Well, Christmas is around the corner, but it may be tough for the Cincinnati Bengals this holiday season.
Cincinnati's going to have to come up right now. If they make the first down, they're going to have to start using their timeouts.
Let's check the schedule coming up. This is the final home game today for the Browns, and you see that they have the first down. Cleveland has 2 remaining games, and they're both going to be on the road. They've got the Raiders in Los Angeles next week, and then they've got Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh, of course, has a later game, a big one today. Raiders playing later also against Kansas City, and Pittsburgh going against San Diego. So 2 big games coming up for the Browns, but both away from home. And those playoff implications, they're just all sorts of them.
Well, they need to win this game and then sit comfortably at 4 o'clock and watch the other 2, because they're going to be in first place one way or the other.
First down from the 20-yard line for Cleveland, leading 35-24 against their interstate rival Cincinnati. This is Mack. Well, you called it early today, Coach. You said we were going back to 50 style of football, the running game would be stressed here today, and Mack with over 100 yards picks up about 3 or 4 more before Fulcher could knock him down, and we're down to the last 3 minutes of this ball game.
Cincinnati needs to use their timeouts. The ball carriers on Cleveland will make sure they hold the ball with both hands, make sure they stay in bounds, but Cincinnati needs to use those timeouts. They got 3 timeouts and a 2-minute warning. They're letting a lot of valuable time go by the wayside. But the big play to Webster Slaughter was the big one in this quarter, because Cincinnati had some breath. They had a chance.
Seeing how that running game can complement the aerial game, because Kozar has put up 4 touchdown passes, a couple of them to Slaughter. On the ground again, Mack just bulldozing his way to the 11-yard line before they can drag him down. And that, of course, keeps that clock running. Down to 2:17. Crumry with the tackle. Tim Manoa leading the way that time as the blocking back for KEVIN Mack. Now, with 2:12 to go, a timeout has been taken by Cincinnati.
Well, they took a long time in making that decision, but right now Cleveland will run the ball. They have an opportunity to get another first down and just keep the clock going so that they can bleed it, and then eventually just kick a field goal, and they'll be up 38-24.
When you look through a Minolta Maxim, any picture you can imagine is possible. Minolta, the leader in SLR technology, with more autofocus lenses, more autofocus zooms, to help you capture more of the action. You and Minolta Maxim bring creativity to life. Maxim, the ultimate system.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
If you thought you had to give up comfort to get a close shave, Norelco says, think again. Their revolutionary shaving system shaves skin close in a way that's incredibly comfortable. As the hair enters the chamber, the patented lift and cut system lifts each hair and holds it a split second before a blade cuts it. So it's possible to shave skin close without the blades even touching the skin. Norelco Rotitract, where close and comfortable come face to face.
One of travel's greatest challenges is how to keep wrinkles out of clothes packed in luggage you've checked. So Samsonite's hardside luggage has special features that keep your clothes in place and you looking great, proving once again that our strengths are legendary.
Presenting a turning point in the history of screwdriving, the Black & Decker cordless screwdriver. A screwdriver so powerful it can drive 100 screws on a single charge. Any less, and it wouldn't be the Black & Decker cordless screwdriver.
A priest who wanted a son. Their true story would shock the world.
I forbid it.
Louis Gossett Jr., Malcolm Jamal Warner, and Carol O'Connor. The Father Clemens story tonight.
Well, after 2 weeks of frustration for the Browns, they've bounced back impressively today. They lead this one 35-24, and that pass to Webster Slaughter for more than 40 yards was a big, big one here, wasn't it, Coach?
When you talk about big, you know, Bernie did a great job getting the ball up. Cincinnati was gambling. They blitzed everybody right off the sideline. And, of course, Slaughter came up with a big play, and he's having an MVP game with 5 receptions.
Browns working from the 10-yard line now. Over the top, getting the first down on 3rd and short yardage. Once again, Mr. Mack. That one just about solidly ices things as far as Cleveland is concerned. Jackson made the tackle but had no opportunity to pull him down. We've reached the 2-minute warning. Cleveland with the football, and more significantly, an 11-point lead.
AT&T, the right choice. Championships are won on draft day when future stars become the foundations of franchises. Which NFL team has the most first-rounders on its roster? The Chicago Bears, the Pittsburgh Steelers, or the Los Angeles Raiders? Which would you choose?
I used to go crazy. Boy, we were making a lot of long-distance calls. Who knew AT&T would come through with these new calling plans?
Introducing Pro America 2 and 3 calling plans.
Now we save money on every long-distance call we make. We get detailed billing, and we don't need special lines. What's this? Make a phone call. Paper costs money.
From equipment to networking, from computers to communications, AT&T is the right choice.
From Walter Payton to Jim Harbaugh, 12 current Bears were drafted by Chicago in the first round. If you said the Bears, you made the right choice.
Well, they've just about sealed their doom. Gary, with another first down, less than 2 minutes to play, and Cincinnati's got 2 timeouts, and frankly, right now, it looks like they're just going to keep bleeding that clock.
Well, it's time for the Most Valuable Player Award, sponsored by Budweiser, and today we're going to salute 3 of the Browns as MVPs. Webster Slaughter is 1, 5 passes, 119 yards, 2 touchdowns. KEVIN MACK is going to be our second co-recipient, 24 carries, 128 yards, 3 pass receptions for 19 yards. And Bernie Kosar, we can't ignore him. What a day he's had with a career-high 4 touchdown passes, 17 out of 26. Budweiser will make a contribution to the United Way on behalf of all the MVPs selected in today's game. 77,331, the official onboard attendance here at Cleveland Stadium today, and they're going to be going home happy after 2 weeks of frustration with the loss in San Francisco and the loss here last week against Indianapolis. They have bounced back impressively today. They threaten again against the Bengals. Mack, who else? Not much working this time. Trying the middle. Bengals taking the timeout, stopping the clock at 1:56. Hammerstein was in there on the tackle. So, about all in question now, the final score.
Mitsubishi knows you want a truck to be tough.
Tough ain't enough.
But we also know you want more for your money.
Tough ain't enough anymore.
Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks give you more. Up to 2.6 liters of power, a 5-speed stick, more standard features for less than Toyota, Nissan, or Mazda. Even the lowest priced macro cab.
Tough ain't enough.
The new Mitsubishi Mighty Max trucks.
Tough ain't enough anymore.
Mitsubishi, suddenly the obvious choice.
The NFL plays here, Seattle.
Rookie linebacker Brian Bosworth leads a bruising Seahawk defense, mastered in the school of hard knocks.
The NFL plays here, Chicago.
But the Seahawks' playoff chances won't be sweetened if they can't stop the NFL's all-time rushing king.
The Seahawks battle the Bears. The action starts with NFL Live.
With less than 2 minutes to go, Cleveland leading 35-24. We check the Browns report card, reflected in our co-MVPs. Kosar, career-high 4 TDs. Mack, 129 yards, 2 TDs. Slaughter has caught for 119 yards. Newsom extended his streak to 125 games. And the Browns go to work now from the 8-yard line. Mack again trying to pop out to the left. Pulled down at the 7-yard line. Robert Jackson with the tackle, and again the timeout is taken. That will stop the clock.
That's a lot more difficult than it looked for a guy like Bobby Jackson, to make that play on Mack in open field. He's a big, strong back that bounces off people. You know, the thing that I like about Mack, as we take a look at Cincinnati's report card, is he gets a lot of yardage after he takes tacklers on.
Look at the average field position at the start of the drive. They started their own at the 23, and the opponent started at the 40-yard line.
Well, you remember that report that we had. They had a possession on their own 30, they scored a touchdown. They had a possession on their own 47, they scored a touchdown. They had a possession on their own 20 after the interception by Matthews, they scored another touchdown. In that period, they scored 4 out of 4 times. Then the half ended, they just threw one up for grabs.
Well, NBC Sports presents a Saturday football special coming up this next week. The Denver Broncos, of course, they're figuring in the playoff hunt with John Elway, and they cannot overlook the Kansas City Chiefs. It'll be an AFC West battle next Saturday, beginning with NFL Live at 3:30 Eastern here on NBC Sports.
And later today, the Raiders play Kansas City, and the Browns will be going out to L.A. to play the Raiders, and they've really had a lot of difficult luck, and I started that streak. It's very difficult to beat the Raiders.
And, of course, last year they broke a streak. They finally won in Pittsburgh, which is going to be their final game this year at Pittsburgh. Cleveland on the ground. Mack, second man through, gets to maybe the 4-yard line, in the vicinity of the 5, and you see now the clock counting down. The Bengals have run out of timeouts, have no further opportunity to stop the clock in this one.
Well, it's right now, it's either to kick a field goal, which I think would be good because Matt Barr needs to get into the groove. He's kicked extra points, but he hasn't kicked any field goals. And I think Marty should do that to get Matt Barr in the groove. He hasn't kicked a field goal in a year.
That's right. He came off the physically unable to perform list earlier this week, and the welcome back signs are out here in Cleveland from Matt Barr, the veteran, who, if he gets a field goal here, would be his 100th in a Cleveland Browns uniform.
And, of course, they're letting the clock run down.
Down to the 1-minute mark right now. Barr has come on, as has his holder, Mike Pagel.
They're going to take a penalty, get a 5-yard penalty, which was very smart because now there's only less than a minute to go. Kick the field goal, and Cincinnati is going to go home this year, having lost to the Browns twice with a record of 4-9.
And you have to wonder what's going to happen as far as that coaching situation is concerned. How much of the responsibility will be heaped on Sam Weich's shoulders? Tough spot to be in. You've been there, Coach.
Take it from me. All. The sombrero is his, no one else's.
Well, here's Barr now for the field goal attempt. 27-yarder is on the way. It's good. So the kicking game is back in Cleveland, and the Browns rolling along, lead at 38-24 with 52 seconds to go, and you see his 100th field goal in a Browns uniform.
Well, you know, the Browns cut Winslow, their punter, and Johnson came in today and did a good job. The Browns moved Jaeger on the move list and brought Matt Barr, the veteran, back because they want him in a stretch run for field goals, and he kicked a field goal and 5 extra points today. So the field goal kicker and the punter can be very important as they go for 2 weeks away playing the Raiders in LA and Pittsburgh, and they're going to have to win those two, not only to win the division, but maybe get that home court advantage.
Well, we'll be returning to the basketball court when a couple of teams that are rich in basketball history meet on January 2nd. Dean Smith travels his North Carolina Tar Heels to Pauley Pavilion. They'll be taking on Pooh Richardson and the defending Pac-10 champion UCLA Bruins. That's coming up January 2nd when we bring you all the action at 4 o'clock Eastern on NBC Sports. We have a quick moment to thank our folks up here in the booth today, John Betchko and Pete Halbin, who've handled the spotting chores. We thank you, gentlemen. Dave Montgomery, our stats man, this Battle of Ohio. And as we mentioned coming in today, this is the 35th time these teams had met, and the series was dead even at 17 wins apiece. Now the Browns have tacked up number 18. It's all but official. Across the way in the booth were Paul Brune, who was seated. That's his son Mike, I believe, on the left there.
That's right.
Paul's going back inside. That may be him coming out now, pondering the future of the Bengals, who had such a great season last year, but such disappointment this year. Short kick by the Bengals being brought up by Eric Caddis at the 40-yard line, pulled down. Not much that Boomer and company can do at this point as they try to generate anything they can in this remaining 48 seconds after Griggs made the tackle on Caddis. Executive producer of NBC Sports, Michael Weissman. A coordinating producer of NBC's football is Ted Nathanson. Coordinating producer of NFL Live is John J. Filippelli. Today's game here in Cleveland, produced by Les Dennis, directed by Ned Tate. NFL Live produced by Tom Roy, and NFL Live directed by Bucky Gunts. You see the time remaining as Esiason sets up to throw on the far side and completes his pass at the 45-yard line. Being muscled out of bounds was Eric Caddis. They're going to keep the clock running, however. He did not get out of bounds on his own.
It's unbelievable that Caddis would not know enough to get out of bounds and stop the clock.
Looked like he was struggling trying to, but Dixon prevented him from doing that. Esiason under pressure, throwing it out here in the middle. Penalty marker down. Pass was incomplete. Making a dive was Tim McGee, and also in the vicinity was Caddis.
And two things stopped the clock: incompleted passes and penalties, and I think that penalty is on Cleveland.
Defensive holding, number 31. Will be a 5-yard penalty and a first down.
Frank Minifield picking up that call. Got a final on one of those other games, very significant game. Buffalo has defeated Indianapolis 27-3, and Bruce Smith with a fumble recovery in the end zone for the final score for the Bills. So a big, big victory today for the Bills, who are now tied for the division lead with the Colts, and the Colts get only 3 points.
And I think Miami's in there because they're beating Philadelphia. There may be a 3-way tie.
2 weeks to go. Oh, that'll be interesting the next couple of weeks. Here's the push against Esiason. Boomer steps up, scrambles to the left, sidearms it out. Jennings can't hang on. Down to the last 12 seconds. Let's check all of those scores now that we have an opportunity to do that. Final, as we mentioned, Buffalo over Indianapolis. New England still way up, 22 points over the Jets. Miami in the fourth, leading by 18 still, so it looks like the Dolphins are cruising to a victory. Washington, comfortable lead over Dallas. New Orleans still making it tough on Houston, and the final earlier, Green Bay over Minnesota. Vikings playoff hopes getting a jolt. Here in Cleveland, the Browns keeping their playoff hopes alive and maybe taking it off the respirator after a couple of tough weeks. They're on the way to their 8th victory with 12 seconds to go. Esiason again scrambling out, being chased. Fires it down here, and it's picked off on Felix Wright. Going to run out the clock, and he just says, why take the hit? This ball game is over. He comes to the near sidelines with his 4th interception of the year. 38-24 is the final in this one. The Browns go 8-5. The Bengals now go 4-9. And for Cleveland, 2 big ones ahead. Next week in Los Angeles against the Raiders, and then at Pittsburgh.
Well, they have an opportunity, Cleveland does, to control their own destiny as we take a look at Sam Weish and Marty Schottenheimer. You know, one coach is drinking the wine and the other one's stomping the grapes. It's a great feeling to be on the side of Marty Schottenheimer, but it's tough on Sam Weish. He's now 4-9, and his job basically is in jeopardy. He was counting on getting a big win here today. As we look at Art Modell, he's got to be a lot happier than he was in the last 2 weeks. So Weish could have won this game. It would have been big, finish up strong, and maybe saved his job. Let's hope that he does, because I think it's a good football team. They got off to a bad start this year. Didn't score a lot, lost a lot of one-run games, and let's hope that Paul Brown gives them another opportunity next year.
Well, the final in this one is 38-24, and it's a big, big day for Kevin Mack, for Bernie Kosar, and for Webster Slaughter. They were 3 of the principals in a Browns defense that muscled up, an offensive line that opened up the holes, and they come up with a very significant victory after struggling, as we'd mentioned a couple of times, over the last 2 weeks. They had not been in concert, Monty Schottenheimer said. Well, today they were in concert, and they produced 35 points, and they go on to this, or 38 points with that late field goal, of course, that I overlooked there by Matt Barr, and a very significant win.
Well, the second quarter, the Browns exploded. You know, we talked about it a great deal, but the field position that the defense gave the offense was unbelievable. You know, they gave them the ball on a 30, they scored. Yep. They gave them the ball on a 47, they scored again. Then Cincinnati had a chance to get right back in the game, and Esiason throws an errant pass. Clay does his act by intercepting it. He laterals to Hairston, and basically the game really was lost in the second quarter for Cincinnati.
That was the key one, and now you see the updated standings right here. If these scores hold, now a couple of them are not yet final, but it looks like they have established either a win or a loss. Cleveland here in the AFC Central. Houston now at 7-6, we're about to be. And of course, with 2 weeks to go, there are still a lot of wrinkles that could shake out and finally determine who is going to go to the playoffs. So with the final score, Cincinnati losing this one against Cleveland, 38-24. We'll be back after these messages from your local station.